it's coming together. Oh my gosh.
What?
Oh my gosh. Ow. That obstruction call. I just watched it for the first time. That was awful. In the softball game last night,
Yeah, who did it screw?
it didn't end up screwing anybody. The Texas girl threw out the Texas Tech girl. They ended up calling her safe. Texas ends up winning the game, but
Right.
she threw her out at second. She was out by a step and a half. You think obstruction was the right call, Cavanbaugh? No, Cavanbaugh does. You really? I mean, because I'm just reading that the internet completely blew up. I'm reading softball people and coaches and what they said, and they're.
So the game-winning hit was on an intentional walk, right?
On an intentional walk. The girl was 0 for 10 in the College World Series, hadn't had a hit yet. And it was the first intentional walk that this girl had tried to throw all year. Oh, golly. Yes, that is correct, Jay. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this first Thursday of June. Give me 6 more of what we had last night, shall we? How the heck are you? That was the Panthers at the end of the first overtime. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X.
David, is that you? Or am I doing the show with Sean McDonough this morning?
No. That's me. That's this everything was going swimmingly. It was fun and what have you. And then they inadvertently shot the puck over the glass. And at that moment, you knew, well, this thing's going to end soon. Okay, this
Well,
was fun.
I tell you what, I was getting a little, well, not nervous, but 3.5. I'm fading 3.5 minutes to go in the first overtime going. Oh boy,
yeah.
we could be up a while.
Yep, could get to a second OT. And once you get to a second one, well, you start thinking about Pat LaFontaine and Keith Primo. Right, anything is possible. So Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Nice show lined up for you. Magic numbers, by the way, 84 and 91 or 12 and 13. Days or weeks. 12 weeks today, college football season kicks off in earnest, 84 days away. 13 weeks tonight, Eagles host the Cowboys, 91 days away from the NFL season kicking off in earnest. So give us 6 more of what we had last night, right?
Oh, my goodness. Sign me up.
That was good.
That was fun.
They came out.
Both goaltenders made some unbelievable saves. We had a couple of posts hit over the course of the night. There was physicality throughout the game. No, that's what we're looking for. The big players played big. That was a terrific night of hockey. Great way to start the series. Don't know how many people watched it. Don't care anymore. Just worried about me and my entertainment for the next 2 to 3 weeks in hockey and basketball. And last night, hockey delivered an A performance.
Edmonton in overtime. Game 2 tomorrow. Meanwhile, tonight, Game 1. You got to figure this is going to be a huge celebratory series. Pacers and Thunder have only both been here once before. It's been 25 years for the Pacers. It's been 13 for the Thunder. You got to figure their fan bases are just going to be giddy. Oklahoma City, a huge favorite, no doubt about it. 9.5-point favorite in Game 1. Wow. Boy, is that a sign of disrespect. 9.5 points. But
Oklahoma City's been kicking the you-know-what out of everybody that they play, particularly at home.
Yep.
They've not had a lot of close wins when they've played at home throughout these playoffs. That's why the number, according to Vegas, is what it is.
I believe Oklahoma City 8-1 at home in the playoffs, only 2 of their games. Obviously, one of them the loss, and I think they had a 7-point win against Denver as well. But of the 9 games, I believe, Mark, only 2 of them decided by less than 15 points. Yeah, they've been whooping up on people at home. But the Pacers, outstanding, 6-2 on the road. You know, you saw what they did. They won 2 out of 3 against the Knicks. They swept Cleveland on the road. So, you know, you know me, I'm just hoping for a little 1-1-2-2. And then, okay, let's see how this sucker ends. But a couple of newbies, if you will, and a couple of small markets with not a lot of national interest. And our poll question is trying to gauge whether or not it's got any of your interest. Instead of picking who do you think is going to win, we figured, well, most of you would just pick Oklahoma City because they're the overwhelming favorites. So we thought we'd, just kind of scramble it up a little bit.
And David may have bypassed the lead there. I don't know if you all caught that listening. Our poll question today, it is the first segment of the show, and the poll question is up and done and posted.
We're on fire.
We're ready for these championship series. We're ready to go.
I have no idea what we're going to do after today because I don't know if we can ask any Stanley Cup final or NBA final poll questions anymore. And think about what we've had here recently. We've had National Egg Day, something to do with chickens. I mean, I don't know how many wells we can tap into here for these poll questions, but to get June started, we are on fire.
You know what, David? It's funny you should say that. It's not going to come today, and I don't know who the participants are, but we are going to have a quarterback-like question every week from now until the start of the football season.
Really?
Something along the lines of these are the 4 guys. You can start one for this year and this year only. Who would it be? So we're going to have some quarterback fun with the poll question. I want to know, because the magic number for me is 22. And that, of course, is when I take my vacation.
Right.
During the week I am gone, am I going to have to train you as to how to do a poll question, or are poll questions going to go away for that week?
I don't know. We'll have to talk about that. I mean, can I do it on my phone?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then maybe, because I know you're going to train me to get us on the air. So,
A lot of
maybe,
training. A lot of training coming around these parts.
no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Listen, I know this is not a popular subject, but I do think if you listen to this show, it's tough to imagine that you're not a sports fan. I know sometimes we go off the reservation a little bit, but this is predominantly a sports show. We actually embrace the nooks and crannies of sports, I think, more than most other shows who are just, headlines and stereotypical topics. So I think actually people might be able to get into this because whether they like the sport or not, they can relate to an athlete being great and still somehow, some way being great long past when they should be. How about Novak Djokovic? He's 38 years old. He's on the most difficult surface to play on. He's playing on guys who are 10 to 15 years younger than him. And he can still whoop some of them. And I'm talking about the top 5 players in the world. Just won his 100th title a week or so ago before the French. There's only 2 other players have ever won 100 tournaments.
And he just won his 100th match at the French.
Right. Only Nadal has won more
Right.
matches at the French than Djokovic. He's facing the 3rd-ranked player in the world yesterday. And he basically schooled him. First set, took him a little while to get going. He is 38 after all. And then he basically said, listen, this is how you play here. Okay, you may want to save this match. You may want to watch it. All right, you're going to have a lot more days here than I am. Mine are dwindling. I don't know how many more of these French Opens I got. But 38 years old. And he's through to the semis. Damn. He just keeps doing it. He got to the semis of the Australian Open before he had to default. Why? Because he's 38 years old. He's like, I don't know. And that was after he beat the 2nd-ranked player in the world in the quarters. Now he, on a hard court, now he beat the 3rd-ranked player in the world on the clay. He's 38.
No, it's absolutely amazing. And at the same time, David, from whether it was Brady playing into his 40s, even right now in the Stanley Cup final, when you got Corey Perry at 40 years old still playing and being effective, and Brad Marchand being really good.
Oh, my goodness.
At 37.
Second best player on the ice for the Panthers last night. Thought only Bennett was better. Oh, he was terrific. Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes
I think we have to understand that we are in the era of athletes doing things late into their careers that we've just never seen before. No. And you're right, David. You need to stop, pay attention, and marvel at the greatness that's going on in whatever sport you're watching.
Right. And I know most of you aren't into it, tennis. I get it. But, man, you can relate. This is, Tiger winning the Masters 6 years ago. It's more than that, actually, because this sport's a little more physically demanding. But, yeah, markets like you pointed out. How much more demanding is hockey? And 2 of the best players on the 2 best teams in the league are 37 and 40. Just, man, great stuff.
It's absolutely remarkable, no doubt.
And it's funny, the French rooted against Djokovic for a long time. And now he's the last of the old guard.
If you play long enough and are good, it doesn't matter how much they dislike you. If you keep at it long enough, they will love you.
Yep.
You and I have pointed out many times, Nicholas was called Fat Jack for a long part of his career and was disliked because what was he doing? Taking down the guy they loved, Arnold Palmer.
Yep.
The king, by the way. But you would have never, if you'd have never watched golf and turned on the 86 Masters, you would have thought that they had been rooting hard for Jack his whole life because there was nobody else that they were rooting for.
Correct. On a leaderboard full of Hall of Famers. Right. They were rooting for one. Yep. So I just wanted to point it out. It's remarkable. And sports are awesome. They seemingly always deliver. We've said for a long time it's the best reality television going. And it just
and that includes the Mormon wives. It does. It's better than that.
Not always, okay, but consistently better, yes. So I just needed to get that off my chest.
Maybe not better to you if you're a Marlins fan, because let's give it up.
Oh, my goodness.
For the Colorado Rockies, doing something they had not done since May of last year. They swept a series at the hands of the Florida Marlins. And boy, oh boy, if we had relegation in sports, I almost think the Marlins should be relegated immediately for losing a series to the Colorado Rockies.
Losing to a team that is already clinched being relegated?
Right.
Man, oh man. Thought we were going to make it through the whole first segment without going Marlins, but Mark's coming off the top rope early.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122. or nolanagency.com.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. I've been a customer for over a year and cannot say enough good things about their service and communication. If you're a business owner, you can trust Molly Maid to do an exceptional job. Their expert team delivers tailored cleaning for whatever your needs, ensuring a pristine environment for clients and staff. Visit mollymaid.com/FT-Myers or call 239-418-0052. Molly Maid makes my home shine, and it will make your home or business shine too.
This is Miller and Moulton.
DC clearly would be the only word. I think he's behind. But I don't know about clearly behind. How would you rank him, DC? Who would you put first, Federer or Djokovic?
Whew. I think Foreman was 46. Sonny, maybe 45 when he beat Moore. It was 45.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Nice little show lined up for you, particularly for the first Thursday in June. David Bearman to talk a little football next hour. We'll do a little hoop, little hockey in our 8 a.m. Eastern hour. So I think we got the bases covered.
Speaking of the bases, another event started last night, the Women's College World Series.
Mm-hmm.
David, why is it in men's college baseball and baseball at the professional level, when I want to issue an intentional walk, I just put my 4 fingers up and the guy walks down to first base.
Right. They changed that in the last handful of years. Right.
But in college softball, where they throw far fewer intentional walks than college baseball and Major League Baseball combined, they have to throw 4 pitches.
Yep. Still have to do it, I guess. Not sure why.
And the millionaire pitcher last night made a huge gaffe.
Yes, she did.
Because she'd thrown 3 pitches to her catcher outside and then let her guard down on the 4th and threw it over the middle of the plate. And the batter, who had been 0 for 10 in the College World Series, but is one of the best hitters in all of collegiate softball, was still paying attention.
Yep.
And with first base open, she belted the ball through the infield, scored 2, and the Millionaires are down 1 spit in the series.
Texas beat Texas Tech last night, 2-1. Little controversy in the game as well. I will say this. Are we going to blame Buster Posey? Because this all goes back to the play in the majors when Buster Posey got his ankle all messed up, when he got steamrolled at home plate. And they decided, okay, we have to protect the catchers. Okay, but then also they said to the catchers, hey, you can't be blocking the plate in any way. And now they're calling obstruction on catchers when they get the ball and the base runner's 10 feet away from the base. So then the catcher slides 2 feet over, okay, to apply the tag. And in doing so, now they're blocking the plate. So it's obstruction.
Well, last night they called obstruction at second base.
Well, I was just getting to, They started at home plate and now they've also taken it to the bases.
They called it on second base on a throw from the catcher. The girl was out by 5 feet.
Right. Come on now.
Throw was a little bit up the line. The shortstop rather comes over, catches the ball, applies the tag. Coach says it's obstruction. They win. She gets second. Fortunately, she didn't score. It didn't have any effect on the game. But holy cow. Rules run amok, David.
We are this is what people warned about when we went to replay, though, is that we were going to slow everything down and we were going to overanalyze it, and then we were going to be strict interpretation. And yeah. You're right, though. Glad it didn't come back to cost Texas a run. I have no rooting interest in the series, but it just felt wrong.
I am rooting for Texas.
Why is that?
Because Texas Tech's trying to buy a championship.
It's happening in football and basketball. Why can't it happen in softball?
Maybe I'm wrong. And this is not because it's a female athlete. I don't believe there's anyone in that particular sport that's worth $1 million. So when you go out and make this drastic overpayment, you screw up the whole market. You screw up what every kid now thinks they're going to get. And I don't like it. Don't know what to tell you. This is overpaying for the sake of overpaying.
I could argue she's underpaid. Texas Tech, what the heck had Texas Tech ever done in softball? Okay? Because of this young lady, they're not playing for the national championship. I mean, they've beaten, they went to Florida State, whooped them, a top 5 team in the country, whooped them. Heck, they just beat Oklahoma twice. 4-time national champion. I don't know. I think she's worth a lot of money.
You think Texas Tech's getting millions of dollars back out of paying her $1 million? For softball. I'm being serious.
I am too. I definitely think that they got their money's worth. I do.
That's a poll. You know what? We've got a second poll question.
Okay.
That's a good poll question right there. And we're on opposite sides. I don't care that you're on one and I'm on the other. It's just how it worked out. But man, oh man. I mean, what's next? The collegiate golfer is going to get $1 million so that some team can win a college golf title?
Well, hell, I hope so. I mean, I want everybody to make as much money as they can. For goodness sakes, these schools, I mean, the coaches, the schools, the conferences, the NCAA, cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. I love it that a softball pitcher got $1 million. I love it that Texas Tech was smart enough to go, if we can grab that pitcher from Stanford, I think we could win a natty. And sure enough, here they are playing for one as the 12 seed. I don't know. I like it. This is where we are in college sports, though. Tell me, this does not personify what in the last week that you've heard. North Carolina spending $14 million on their basketball team for next year, or Texas Tech buying a pitcher for $1 million and she's taking them all the way to the national championship series.
Well, David, I have a third nominee because when I was looking at what they're spending in basketball, I realized that North Carolina is not anywhere close to the top spot because apparently Kentucky's spending upwards of $20 million on their basketball team.
Correct.
They're spending the same on their hoop team that Ohio State did on their football team to win a natty.
Well,
12 guys versus 50, 70, 80, whatever's on a college football team.
It's very important to them, Mark. That's what they're saying. Mark Stoops is going, I ain't never going to get that kind of money.
Not a chance, Mark.
I know they're talking at most schools about divvying up this $20 million that's supposed to be coming in, and the football team's supposed to get 3/4 of it. Yeah, the basketball team could get 3/4 of it here. But I got my money. I got paid. That's what Mark Stoops is saying. I go win 7-8 games. Every 3-4 years, I can get a contract extension. Jimmy Sexton get me another $1 million a year. Listen,
but maybe you're right, David. Maybe I would love to find out from the Darren Heitners of the world if Texas Tech got their money back, and probably will based on the numbers, because we think the college softball tournament will draw quite a few eyeballs.
Yeah.
So the university may get their money back due to impressions over the next couple of days.
So I think they got their $1 million back. I think she's been worth it. Never mind, she has set the bar. This is what Nolan Ryan, I think, was the first $1 million pitcher in baseball in '79. Okay, the Astros paid it. I just think that, this young lady, she's like, well, it's a going right now. I mean, be prepared.
Hey, no doubt. I will say it's the one time she was at Stanford, right?
I believe so, yes.
That's and I'm being serious when I say that. A degree from Stanford or the $1 million for 1 year to throw the pill at Texas Tech.
Well, she can now afford to go back and finish up at Stanford,
You're right.
I mean, if I were her, I'd be about 3 to 6 credits shy in Lubbock and then go back. Pay cash. The starting 5 is next.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today. 433-4635.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239 427-3441 today.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from that fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
A couple things that I'm seeing in the Twitch chat room. Sonny, Holyfield and Foreman fought first. Foreman was 42 when they fought. And when Holyfield beat him pretty soundly, the thought was Foreman would never get another shot. That, he had his comeback and, good for him. But then 3 years later, Moorer gave him a shot. We saw what happened after Moorer beat Holyfield. And yes, we said it yesterday that this is Phil's last year with the U.S. Open and exemptions. And I don't think Phil will ever try to qualify.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. So do we have 2 poll questions? Did you fire that second one up?
I have not yet. I will.
So
Got to figure out the proper way to word that.
All right. So the one.
And I got on a tangent during the commercial break, so that's on me.
A good tangent or?
No.
No. Oh, I'm sorry.
Just down a hole.
Oh, been there. So we do have a poll question. It involves the NBA Finals. Instead of asking you who do you think is going to win, since Oklahoma City's such a prohibitive favorite, we figured that, the voting would be as such. So instead, we're asking kind of what's your level of interest in the finals, since it's Oklahoma City and Indiana. And, it's all the way from, I got no interest. I don't care if it's a riveting series and it's a game 7. I'm not interested. To, come on, it's the NBA Finals. I'm all in. And a couple of choices in between.
And right now, all of it getting the majority of the vote. When we start watching the NBA Finals tonight, all of it getting 56% of the vote. If it gets to 2-2, getting 6% of the vote, as is if it gets to game 6. And then 31% of you say, I'm not watching any of it. I don't like the NBA.
So there you have it. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. David Bearman, 1 hour from now to talk a little football. Magic numbers are 84 and 91, by the way. Keith Smith, Dave Hyde to talk some hoop and some hockey in our 8 a.m. Eastern hour. Right now it is time for...
The Starting 5. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the Starting 5.
Nice little hockey game last night in Edmonton. Thank you very much. Florida, 2-1 after 1, scored 2 minutes into the second period and wouldn't score again. Panthers dominated the second period and didn't have a lot to show for it. Took a 3-2 lead into the third, but they had the same 1-goal lead after 1. Edmonton with a big third period. Panthers early in overtime, dominating the first 4 or 5 minutes overtime. And then Edmonton said, you had your chance. We'll take it from here. And eventually we're going to win. And the Panthers committed a delay of game penalty. Third pair defenseman, puck rolled on them. They shot it over the glass with 1:47 left in the first overtime. Edmonton went on the power play, and you just had a feeling the Panthers were not going to see a second overtime. McDavid set up Draisaitl for his second goal of the game and the game winner with 31 seconds left in the first overtime. Edmonton up 1-0. Remember, it was the Panthers up 3-0 in the series last year. Game 2 tomorrow night in Edmonton. Sam Bennett with 2 goals. Brad Marchand, the other goal for the Panthers. Both guys are free agents at the end of the year.
Sam Bennett's going to get paid.
Oh, my goodness.
I was thinking about you and your vote for Sam Bennett for the MVP when we were looking at the odds, and he was like 30-1. And thinking about that last night as he netted 2, I'm like, wow, Moulton might be onto something here.
I mean, what's that? What's he up to now? Like 11, 12 goals, something like that?
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And yes, he gonna get 10 a year minimum. He gonna get 10, and he gonna get at least 6 years, which is a lot in the NHL. NBA tonight, game 1 of the finals will finally get underway. Oklahoma City, a 9.5-point favorite over the Indiana Pacers. It's the second finals appearance for both. Both lost their first go-around. Pacers in 2000 to Shaq, Kobe, and the Lakers. Oklahoma City in 2012 to D-Wade, LeBron, Bosh, and the Heat. 8:30 ABC tonight. By the way, Pacers on the road, 6-2 in the playoffs. Oklahoma City at home, 8-1 in the playoffs. A very similar road-home matchup as we had last night going into Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals, and that was a beauty. By the way, I'll go Oklahoma City in 6. I think Carlisle gets a game, and I think the Pacers' pace gets a game.
I had thought early on of taking Oklahoma City in 3 because the Pacers wouldn't show up for the fourth game, but I think too much of what the Pacers have done this year and their head coach. I think it's 5. I think Indiana gets a game. I think it's a gentleman's sweep.
Okay. One other NBA note, Phoenix is hiring Cavs assistant Jordan Ott. Anybody ever heard of Jordan Ott? Anybody? All right. I hadn't, for what that's worth. I try to pay attention to this stuff. You know, apparently up-and-coming coach. Devin Booker, by the way, involved in the hiring process for Phoenix. And apparently the Suns are determined to trade Kevin Durant before the draft. And the draft is at the end of this month. So in the next 3 weeks, I guess, they're going to trade KD. Baseball. Is this one of the 5 lowest moments in the history of the Miami Marlins?
Wow. David, I am not a Marlins historian, but there are so many bad moments in Marlins baseball. I think this makes the survey.
So we all know Colorado came into the series this week 9-50, and 3 games later they left South Florida 12-50. The Rockies hadn't swept a series in their last 55 series. That's over a year. 6,261 on hand, and that's a bunch of baloney. There might have been 261 on hand. I don't think there were 6,261 people in the seats for all 3 games combined. They announced.
I think you may be onto something there, David.
They announced like 19,000 total for the series. No way. Rockies 3-2 over the Marlins. Mets 6-1 over the Dodgers. Alonso with 2 homers, 5 RBIs, a 2-run shot early, a 3-run shot late. Phillies lost in the 9th to Toronto 2-1, so they lose a game to the Mets. Braves fall 6 games below 500. They had the bases loaded with 2 outs in the 9th, but couldn't come up with the big hit. In fact, they were held to only 3 hits. Arizona beat Atlanta 2-1. The Padres were on the verge of sweeping the Giants. San Francisco down 5-0, rallied to beat San Diego 6-5.
What a series that was, by the way. First 2 games go 10 innings, both 1-run games, and then last night San Francisco with the big comeback for another 1-run game. San Francisco not going away thus far, David. They're still hanging around. When you look at the rosters out of the 4 teams in the NL West with the Dodgers, the Giants, the Padres, and the Diamondbacks, I think you'd have the Giants ranked 4th, but they still playing pretty solid baseball.
And I believe it kept the Padres out of first place because they could have picked up a game on the Dodgers. And I believe the Dodgers remain a game ahead of San Diego. Pirates, see, they scored a few runs because Paul Skeens wasn't pitching. See, if they scored 3 runs every time Skeens pitched, he'd win the Cy Young. I did see something funny yesterday, Mark. They said Paul Skeens is going to go 8-13 on the season and win the Cy Young with a 1.9 ERA. Pittsburgh beat Houston 3-0, but the Astros remain in first because, hey, how about the Orioles? They've won 5 straight. It's about time they showed up. They beat Seattle 3-2. Brewers hit 3 homers, beat the Reds 9-1. Rain in St. Louis, Royals and Cardinals will play 2 today. Rays score 4 in the third, hold off Texas 5-4. Cleveland 3 in the first, beat the Yankees 4-0. Red Sox got a walk-off 2-run homer around the pesky pole. Probably the shortest home run in Major League Baseball.
Shortest walk-off home run of the year, they said.
Boston, a much-needed 11-9 win over the Angels. Did you see the little brouhaha before the game?
I did.
Batting practice, you got the coach for the one team, player for the other, and they're arguing about stealing signs from the night before. Okay. Couple of losing teams, and they're already ornery in early June. Tigers survived the rain delay of the White Sox 5-4. Their lead is 6 over the Twins, who, well, handed the A's their 9th straight loss. They're 1-20 in their last 21, 6-1 Minnesota.
They're 17 games below 500. When this started, we were talking about the Athletics having a shot to remain relevant in a wild card run. And now they are 23-40.
When they were 22-20. So they lost 20 out of their first 42. Now they've lost 20 out of their next 21. Washington 2-0 over the Cubs. Ahmed Rosario with a homer. And Rob Manfred, he could be your favorite baseball commissioner.
Talk to me, David. Talk to me.
I'm going to talk dirty to you.
You're damn right you are.
Because Rob Manfred yesterday said, yeah, we want the ABS home plate umpiring system. We want it for next year.
Thank goodness.
Tell you what, Laz Diaz called a strike on a Rays
Oh
hitter
my
2 nights ago.
goodness. Did you see that? It was 8-10 inches outside.
I literally thought it was a ruler. I thought if you had extended the home plate by a ruler, I'm not sure it would have caught the ruler. Wow. College World Series softball, Texas with 2 in the 6th. Reese Atwood hit the pitch that was supposed to be for an intentional walk for a 2-run single. 2-1 Texas over Texas Tech. It's a best-of-3 series. They'll play game 2 tonight. French Open. Top seed Sinner advanced, but so did the 6th seed and 38-year-old Novak Djokovic. Took out the 3 seed Zverev, 6-4 in the 4th. Women's semis going on today. Sabalenka against Swiatek. That's the 1 and the 5 seed. Coco Gauff's taking on that French qualifier. Ranked 361st in the world, Basson. Coco's got her. Now, Basson's rested. Coco had to play 3 sets against Madison Keys yesterday. She's young, I know, but, we'll see if that plays into it. Winners go to the finals. And finally, golf, PGA Tour, they're north of the border, the Canadian Open. So Rory's in the field. He likes to play the week before a major. The U.S. Open's next week. Quick sidebar. Has anybody seen the rough at Oakmont?
David, they mowed it yesterday, and it still appeared to be knee-high.
They mowed it yesterday, and it's a farm. My goodness.
Small dogs could get lost in that rough.
Small children could get lost in that rough. Put them down, stay here. They ain't moving. I'll tell you that right now. Adults may have trouble picking their feet up and walking in the rough. Anyway, so Rory's talking to the media. Remember, he didn't talk to the PGA, and he hasn't played since. So he was asked about the PGA. He said, well, a couple things were going on. First off, 2 of the 4 rounds, I was supposed to play early, got pushed back because of weather. I was finishing. It was like 7 o'clock. The one, I wanted to get home before my wife put the kid to bed. Okay. He said, but I'll be honest with you. I was angry. He goes, that information about the equipment, that's supposed to remain confidential. 2 members of the media, okay, broke code, if you will. Okay, and the other thing was, I figured if I'm talking about it, I'm going to get asked because I knew Scotty Scheffler's driver, okay, didn't comply either. And what am I supposed to do? Take all the heat and not mention Scotty? And then if I mention Scotty, I'm throwing him under the bus? Okay, and so Rory just said, I was honked off and I didn't feel like talking because I didn't think I was going to say the right thing. So that's the story.
When you run to the microphone when things are good, you have to be willing to talk and speak in front of the microphone when things are not good. It's just my opinion, David.
Going back, though, and we've talked about this, golf is one of those sports. Golf is not a transparent sport. We don't find out about suspensions, right? Golf is not a transparent sport. And by the way, the golfers don't want it to be either.
Hell no, who would?
Well, there are some that want transparency, but not the PGA Tour and not the PGA Tour players. And so that's why you go, oh, Rory's upset. Yeah, because that stuff's not supposed to get out. Now, what's interesting is he's blaming two members of the media for going public with something that the players feel is not supposed to be public. Curious what most golf fans think about that.
I'm just curious, David, that the golf media is supposed to swallow it. Their job is to report information. They get this information apparently all the time and only use it at the PGA. I mean, that because he said they broke code. That's his words. That means that they know this stuff all the time and choose not to share it.
Right.
That's interesting to me. That's fascinating.
Rory said this is something that is not supposed to be made public, and everybody knows that. So it's 7 minutes before the hour. That was the starting five. 5 big stories. And hey, talk about it when I want you to here on Miller and Moulton.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122. or nolanagency.com.
Summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower's so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Defining a new era in Men's Health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. I've been a customer for over a year and cannot say enough good things about their service and communication. If you're a business owner, you can trust Molly Maid to do an exceptional job. Their expert team delivers tailored cleaning for whatever your needs, ensuring a pristine environment for clients and staff. Visit mollymaid.com/FT-Myers or call 239-418-0052. Molly Maid makes my home shine, and it will make your home or business shine too.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Shaq's on the Kelsey podcast.
Yeah, I
Just
caught it.
Just see the. Do you have something here?
No, not really.
All right, I got a theory. Can I
Okay.
throw it at you?
Sure. Can you just work with me on this question here? I have Texas Tech signed pitcher Najari Kanadi or whatever her name is to a $1 million NIL deal and made it to the national title game in college softball. Was it worth it for Texas Tech to pay huge NIL money to get a shot at a title?
How about if you just asked, did they get their money's worth? Make it shorter. Yes. No, it's $1 million.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It's hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this first Thursday in June. How's your week going? All right, you can just about see the finish line from here. You've made the turn. You're closer to home than you were at the start of the week. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. I got a theory about something. Okay. I do want to throw a theory out at you and see whether or not you could, you could go with it. I could convince you of it. But everybody thinks that the Vikings can't win the Super Bowl because of J.J. McCarthy this year, or can't even get to the Super Bowl, or can't even get to the NFC Championship game because of J.J. McCarthy. He's essentially a rookie.
No, I mean, yeah, to me, he is a rookie.
Right. Didn't play last year.
He didn't play last year.
Right.
He is coming into the league as a starting quarterback.
Right. So I'm going to go back just a few years, but I'm going to stay in the century if that's okay. So 21 years ago, the Steelers drafted Ben Roethlisberger, had no intention of playing him. They had a really good team. Now, they were not based on throwing the ball. They were based on defense and running the ball. But starting quarterback got hurt in the preseason, and the rookie from Miami of Ohio had to play. I think they went 15-1, hosted the AFC Championship game before losing to the Patriots. How many of us thought that when their starting quarterback, and I think they were not coming off a great season. They weren't coming off of the season the Vikings had last year. I don't think we thought of the Steelers entering 2004 the way we think of the Vikings heading into 2025. Now, Ben Roethlisberger turned into a Hall of Fame quarterback, but he wasn't a Hall of Fame quarterback as a rookie. They didn't even let him throw the ball 20 times a game as a rookie. So that's just one example. But how about this example? And I know I've spoken of this before because I wish more coaches would do it. But one of the things that I like that Denny Green did, Denny Green's theory was you don't play a quarterback his first year, but you make him run the scout team. This way he gets a lot of reps every week. And yeah, he may not be repping your offense, but he's repping, okay? And he's going against the first team defense. And so when they drafted Dante Culpepper, he was third string quarterback. He didn't see the field his rookie year, but he ran the scout team. And apparently by the end of the year, he was tearing the Vikings defense up. And they had Jeff George and Randall Cunningham. And Jeff George, in relief of Randall Cunningham, took the Vikings to the playoffs and won a playoff game. And Denny said to both those veteran quarterbacks, we don't need either one of you anymore. I know you took us to the playoffs last year, and you took us to the NFC title game the year before that, but yeah, the kid's ready. And Dante Culpepper, second year in the league, had never taken a snap, came in and took the Vikings to the NFC Championship game. And they were a passing team more than they were a running team with Randy Moss and Chris Carter and Jake Reed catching the ball. What if J.J. McCarthy's Dante Culpepper? I'm not asking him to be Ben Roethlisberger. Now, Dante Culpepper, before he tore his knee up, Dante Culpepper was a really
good, David.
He was.
He could spin it, as they say. I mean, that guy could throw the football.
Right. His first 3-4 years in the league before he tore that knee up, something fierce, were, damn, he's a weapon. He's a problem.
Yeah. How did this guy end up going to college where he did?
Well, and also, how did he fall to 11? I think he was the 4th or 5th quarterback taken in the draft that year. We were like, you took 4 quarterbacks before him?
Well, I want to ask you a couple of questions here. None of them have to do with J.J. McCarthy.
Okay.
We'll get to that in a second.
All right.
Because I like where your head's at with this. But first off, just in that division, when you look at the Vikings roster, where would you rank it?
A very close second.
So you believe their roster is significantly better than the Packers, slightly better than the Packers, or just, one of those two? Is it, significantly better than the Packers or slightly better than the Packers? Because I'm guessing you believe that the Lions have the best roster in the division.
Close. Yes. Detroit.
So are they?
They're a full level better than the Packers. Minnesota could beat good teams last year. Green Bay couldn't. Green Bay went 0-2 against the Lions, 0-2 against the Vikings, 0-2 against the Eagles. Okay, against the top of the NFC, Green Bay had nothing. I think Minnesota's roster, Mark, is better than it was last year. I think
they made improvements on both lines of scrimmage. There's no doubt that they improved both lines. They have not good receivers, elite receivers. They have a great tight end. They might be a little weak in the secondary, but they have a great defensive coordinator.
And they've got pass rushers. I mean, their roster is, I think, top 3 in the NFC. The Eagles, Lions a close second, and I think the Vikings a close third. So that's what the other thing. That's what J.J. McCarthy's walking into here. And what if, what if, I'll just ask you this. What if J.J. McCarthy plays the way Drake May played last year? How about this? What if he plays the way Bo Nix played last year?
He plays the way Bo Nix played last year. They might win the division, David.
Well, that's
Bo Nix wasn't good last year. He was terrific last year.
Yeah, he was
very good. You look at
good.
the interception, the TD to interception ratio. He did everything that was asked of him a year ago.
Yeah, for a year, we couldn't be more wrong about Bo Nix. You and I wanted nothing to do with him. We look like fools. Bo Nix was very good and then became very good by the end of the year. What if that's J.J. McCarthy? Ironically, taken one spot before Bo Nix. I believe in the exact same draft slot where Dante Culpepper was taken, by the way, 25 years ago.
If he plays like Bo Nix, David, I think they can win the division.
I do too. And I think they can be a top 2 seed in the NFC. And that's why I'm just wondering, should we keep our mind open to, if the guy picked 2nd overall was spectacular, we're not asking anybody to be him. Okay? Drake May had maybe the worst skill players around him in the league. Okay? He looks like he's got potential, but we don't know. He never threw to a receiver who was open, for goodness sakes, and who was a game breaker. So this year he's going to have some weapons. Okay, they're going to be much better coached. We'll see what the kid can do. We saw what Bo Nix could do, well coached, had a few weapons. I think they needed to get him some more this offseason. Not sure they did it, but
they improved their team, but not where I felt they should have improved their team at the most. But that's for another day.
Now, they did bring in J.K. Dobbins yesterday, and they're having dinner with him today. And, he did rush. He had over 1,000 yards from scrimmage last year. He can't stay healthy. But, if you get 12 good games from J.K. Dobbins, that could help you. But just what if we open our minds to what if J.J. McCarthy can play like Bo Nix last year? Now, what do we think we're going to get from the Vikings. Just Bo Nix. I'm not asking for Ben Roethlisberger. I'm not even asking for Dante Culpepper in 2000. Do you think J.J. McCarthy can play at the level that Bo Nix played at last year?
No, I don't.
Okay.
David, I mean, he threw for nearly 4,000 yards, 29 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. That's, if we were just ranking quarterbacks, and I mean, you'd have to put Bo Nix heading into the season around what, 9th to 14th in the league?
I don't know about that.
Based on last year's numbers, where would you put him?
I'd probably put him 14th to 18th, but but I know what you're getting at.
Put it this way. Bo Nix has the year he has this year, has last year's numbers again this year. We're talking about a top 10 quarterback in the league. We are. He's got to repeat it.
Yeah, maybe top 12, but I know what you're saying. He'd certainly be in the upper third of the league. I would grant you that.
Right.
Okay.
And right now, I wouldn't put him in the upper third because it's just 1 year of work. He does it again. He has the guy that can leap. I'll still take Daniels before I'll take Nix. But who are you taking right now? Nix or Caleb Williams?
For this season?
For this season.
I would play it safe and take Nix. Now, J.J. McCarthy is throwing to one of the 3 best sets of wide receivers in the league.
Yes. Undoubtedly.
I mean, you could put, I think Chase and Higgins are, if you go Chase and JJ or even, I'll give Higgins, the edge over the Vikings number 2. Close. You want to go CD and Pickens? I mean, at worst, at worst, they're the 3rd best set of receivers in the game.
Okay? Philly's doing pretty good. But I know what you're saying.
He's a top 5 receiving tight end.
Oh.
Not blocking, but receiving. Hawkinson. By the way, that's I'm not into fantasy. That would be my fantasy guy this year. He didn't catch touchdowns with Sam Darnold. J.J. McCarthy threw to his tight end in college. He's a young quarterback. I think he will love his tight end this year. I think that he's going to score 8 or more touchdowns in fantasy this year, Hawkinson. But back to McCarthy. The weapons he has, with the opportunistic defense, he's going to get the ball a lot. With the gifted play caller he's got in O'Connell, I'm sorry. I don't know, Mark. I think we could get a Bo Nix season out of J.J. McCarthy this year. And I think the Vikings, if they get a Bo Nix season out of J.J. McCarthy, are a Super Bowl contender.
Miller and Moulton. They made vast improvements on the offensive line. The continuity has to come together. We all know you've got to avoid injuries and the like.
Yep.
But right now on paper, this roster looks to be very good. The quarterback is completely unproven, obviously. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. I've been a customer for over a year and cannot say enough good things about their service and communication. If you're a business owner, you can trust Molly Maid to do an exceptional job. Their expert team delivers tailored cleaning for whatever your needs, ensuring a pristine environment for clients and staff. Visit mollymaid.com/FT-Myers or call 239-418-0052. Molly Maid makes my home shine, and it will make your home or business shine too.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I will say, though, Nick, McCarthy was, reasonably accurate at Michigan, having no receivers whatsoever. I mean, none. I mean, that receiving core that he had at Michigan was terrible. I agree 100% with you, Nick, there. I looked at I couldn't poke a lot of holes in that Viking schedule, if you know what I mean, early. That's it's funny. I will say first game could be really big for them. We've talked about it before. Half the teams that win their first game make the playoffs. 25% of teams that lose their first game make the playoffs. They're at Chicago. Fascinating Monday night game to me. Would be incredible if they came back from Europe 5-1, because they will have only played 5 games. But DC, if they can, get 6 games in 5, I'd be impressed. You are right, though. The 4 after they come back from Europe are a bear. Because after they play Chicago, at Chicago, home for Atlanta, home for Cincy. That's a tough one. Obviously, the 2 in Europe, the Pittsburgh and Cleveland. But then it's Philly, at the Chargers, at Detroit, home for Baltimore. That's a tough stretch.
Is this the Vikings?
Yes.
Yeah, the Lions and Vikings are not going 15-2 and 14-3 this year. You got your Air Advantage thing here, right?
I do.
Okay. Can I bring up one thing for like 2-3 minutes before it? Or do
Hope
you
it's
want-
not what I'm using for my coolest thing I saw today.
It can't be. South Florida lost her AD. Yes.
Yeah, I saw the Navy.
Yeah.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
David Bearman to join us in a little more than 15 minutes time. We'll just talk some football. Why? Well, we hear you guys like that. Magic numbers, by the way, 84 days, 12 weeks tonight. The college football season kicks off in earnest. In fact, South Florida and Boise State don't even wait for evening. Technically, they're going to have a late afternoon, an early bird kickoff, if you will.
I would call it that that's how I would market the whole game if I was South Florida. It's an early bird special trying to get a few new folks out to the game.
No doubt. It's like 5:30 kickoff against Boise State.
Right.
Nationally televised, leading into UCF season opener, nationally televised. But David Bearman, talk a little football, pro football. We're 13 weeks, 91 days away from the Eagles hosting the Cowboys. We'll talk hoop and hockey next hour. We've got what, 2 poll questions up?
We do. One is, when will you start watching the NBA Finals? Tonight, if it gets to 2-2, if it gets to a game 6, not watching any of it. Right now, all of it is getting the most votes at a little less than 44%. The other poll question is, Texas Tech signed their pitcher to a $1 million NIL deal, and they've made it to the College Softball World Series. Did Texas Tech get their money's worth?
Oh.
Right now, 53% of you say hell yes. The rest saying hell no. Why I put the hells in there today, I have no idea, David.
Well, at least you're honest about it. I just like the fact that when I answer, because I vote, but then I tell everybody my vote, I get to type hell in my vote. Hell yes.
So, Mother Moulton, you can take it out on me. I'll take the spatula or the wooden spoon. I provoked your son in this case to swear not only on air, but online.
Miller and Moulton coming up. The coolest thing Mark has seen in the last 24 hours, that is coming up. I want to bring up something that's not cool for South Florida.
You mean you are going to bring up something that's not cool? Isn't that kind of your MO on this show?
It is part of my charm. Hey, Miller and the dorky one.
Oh, I'm such a
Hey, dorky one. Could you bring up something dorky or not positive or what? Complicated? Whatever. So, we think that the guy running the South Florida athletic department's had a good couple years. We like the Alex Golish guy. He obviously hit a home run with Abdul Rahim before he tragically passed. The head coach, by the way, that he hired from Arkansas State, he got rave reviews nationally. People think he's up and comer. Was kind of mentioned as like a Todd Golden type of up and comer. So, yeah, he left South Florida yesterday, did the AD, Michael Kelly.
Right. And he left South Florida for Navy.
Another school in the same conference. He's the son of a Navy man, though. Grew up in Annapolis. So the pull, the lure of Navy. Michael Kelly, the South Florida AD until yesterday. He'd been there, I think, 10 years, at least 7. So he's responsible. Think about it. The football coach, the basketball coach, and the money.
Football stadium.
There you go. I'm just going to throw this out there. If I'm the president of South Florida or I'm on the hiring committee, I'm promoting from within. because I want to assure Golish, the football coach, and the new basketball coach, hey, I was right. You know me. I was right next to Kelly in the interviews, and, I'm totally on board with you. I don't want Golish in particular. I don't want Golish thinking, uh-oh, the guy that hired me ain't here. I got to start looking. No. In fact, here's another thing I do, Mark. If I'm not promoting from within, I am mandating the new AD to extend Golish's contract. I want to assure him, dude, we're all in on you. Just because the guy that hired you ain't here anymore, don't think for a second we're not all in.
I think you're spot on. We are big fans of Alex Golish, the head coach of South Florida. Think he's done a tremendous job. Think he's doing a tremendous job. And he may get plucked.
Right.
At some point.
Yep.
But you don't want him leaving.
Right.
Because you don't think, or he doesn't think, that the athletic director has confidence in him past this contract.
Right. We don't want him looking. If they call him and pluck him, we understand. We don't want him telling his agent, hey, start sniffing around.
Or vice versa. We don't want him telling his agent, start sniffing around for me, because that's usually the way it goes. Not to mention, agents are always sniffing. That's their job. Time now for the coolest thing I've seen today, brought to you by Air Advantage. It is that time of year to get your AC units checked. Go to myairadvantage.com or call them at 239-433-4635, 433-4635, a Ream Pro partner, and they are offering that great 18 months, no interest, no payments available. David, I go to your sport, baseball. I don't do it very often, but and your guy. Something happened yesterday that we talk about. We've talked about this guy a lot on this show over the years because his career began with FGCU. But last night, even though Chris Sale ended up with the loss in a 2-1 game against Arizona, he had his third double-digit strikeout game of the year. It's his 90th career double-digit strikeout game. That's 8th all-time. All-time.
And he missed nearly 3 years with injuries. A good 2.5.
Right.
With injuries. I'm telling you, he was on a Hall of Fame trajectory.
And he's going to end up, I believe, coming up short. But, and part of it is, this year with the break. I mean, he has another great October. Then it changes. Then maybe he would sneak in ahead of somebody that might have a little better numbers, because if he wins yet another World Series and is a part of it.
Ace of the 2018 Red Sox, and he also got the final out coming out of the bullpen in that World Series win. Won the Cy Young last year, now over 2,500 strikeouts. I think he would, at the very least, Mark, have to get to 3,000 strikeouts. It's a bit of a, if you're a strikeout pitcher, that's kind of the magical number. So if he stays healthy, I know he's planning on at least 2 more years. That'll get him close. That'll get him real close.
So Chris Sale, that's the coolest thing I've seen today. I mean yesterday, but you get the drift. Brought to you by Air Advantage. Online, myairadvantage.com. Our poll question regarding the college pitcher, Najari Kanadi. I think that's how you say her name. Hell yes is winning with nearly 60% of the vote. I did receive this text and just simply said, got to disagree with you on this. If it's good for the boys, it's good for the girls. I hate it both ways, but it's what we're at now. And I'm fine with that. And I'm for the athletes getting money. Don't get me wrong. But don't you think you could have got her for $300,000, $400,000? Maybe not. But $1 million in a sport that doesn't spend that kind of money seems outrageous to me. And I just wonder if Texas Tech, they didn't pay it. Their boosters did. I get it. Do you feel like Texas Tech got their money's worth? And David, you do.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I didn't know who this girl was until 2 weeks ago. And I pay a little bit of attention to college softball.
Right. You're a fan. I mean, that's the thing, too. Mark's a fan of the athletes getting paid. He loves college softball, loves women's softball. It's not just men's fast pitch. Okay. So it's funny thing is you love everything about this story. You just don't think she's worth $1 million.
No. And I'm fine with her getting it.
Right.
Did you have to spend $1 million to get her?
By the way, I thought you were going to mention yesterday's poll results. You do know that Cheddar kicked the field's butt and American Cheese finished a distant third. I mean,
Yes.
you rounded up the troops in the afternoon, Mark.
Down with processed cheese. Down with processed cheese. Yes to the NFL and David Bearman. He's next on Miller and Moulton. Down with processed cheese. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com. American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor, a neighborly company.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. I've been a customer for over a year and cannot say enough good things about their service and communication. If you're a business owner, you can trust Molly Maid to do an exceptional job. Their expert team delivers tailored cleaning for whatever your needs, ensuring a pristine environment for clients and staff. Visit mollymaid.com/FT-Myers or call 239-418-0052. Molly Maid makes my home shine, and it will make your home or business shine too.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I don't think you had to spend that money to get her. I think they wasted money. That's all. In a sport where the budget is less than that for an entire team, I don't see the logic. But they do. I got no problem with them getting paid, but quarterbacks aren't getting $1 million. Not all of them. I know some are. For the sport and the revenue that it generates, it doesn't make sense to me. But it made sense to Texas Tech. That's all. Yeah, Kump, we talked about it earlier. I have no idea. No idea how they call these obstruction rules in softball. It's ridiculous. Throw was up the line a tiny bit. She tagged her, 3 feet before the base? Right there with you. And apparently, Comtech, the rules are, this is a sport where the coaches make the rules. So the coaches can fix this, from what I understand. By the way, the funniest thing I've seen on the internet today was the Cleveland Browns are going to retire Shadur Sanders' number based on how he played in practice. Gosh, that's funny. In that sport, I think $250,000 would have got it done, Feeney. I could be dead wrong. I think 100,000 would have got it done in that sport. I've got to reach out to my buddy who's the pitching coach at Virginia Tech and see what they spend combined on it. In fact, I'll wake Doug up now.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes until the top of the hour. Keith Smith will join us then to preview the NBA Finals. 1 hour from now, Dave Hyde, terrific South Florida sports columnist, to talk the Stanley Cup Finals. Edmonton a winner late in the first overtime last night. By the way, somebody who's into the finals, David Bearman of Pro Football Network. Follow him on X at David Bearman, Bearman PFN. And oh, by the way, David Bearman last night was on fire. PFNbetting.com. David had a perfect night between hockey and baseball. Congratulations, sir. How are you?
Good. Profitable, but the Florida Panthers lost. But yes, we isolated that first stats in there in the newsletter, and sure enough, it was over 10 minutes in. It went over 1.5, and it kept going. Actually, wound up being 3 goals real quickly, and unfortunately, Edmonton won in the end. But yes, it was a very, very good night for PFN betting and the new Bearman Betting with Bearman newsletter that's at PFNbetting.com.
Yeah, I at first when you did the PFN betting newsletter, David, I'm like, well, we've got to wait until September when football comes. No. You're doing this all the time. Basketball, hockey, whatever you can get your hands on. How much time are you spending investigating your picks these days?
A lot. I spend basically most of my job now is getting this newsletter out there and doing hits like this on your show and VSiN and Sports Grid and building the brand of PFN. We're looking to get as many people as possible into that funnel for betting with Bearman. And we're a little bit different than just giving out picks and, hey, give me money and I'll give you picks. It's all about educating people on why we want the picks and giving the research and the stats and making all of the listeners and readers just better and sharper bettors. And the reason for the pick last night over 1.5 was based on deep research on how both teams play in the first period. And that's what last night was about, and giving you guys all the information you could get to make you sharper better. Betting with Bearman, pfnbetting.com. Sign up for the newsletter. And David Bearman of Pro Football Network. Can I throw a football theory out at you? Sure. So we threw this out there on our show a little over a half hour ago. What if I tell you that J.J. McCarthy is going to perform at the level of Bo Nix this year? How would you then view the Vikings this season? I think if J.J. McCarthy reaches the Bo Nix level of last year, which arguably he could have been Rookie of the Year, obviously Jaden Daniels had the full body of work, not just the second half of the season, but Bo Nix outplayed him in the second half of the season. If J.J. McCarthy puts up Bo Nix numbers, I think the Vikings are a playoff team, just like the Broncos were last year. And I think they contend with the Lions for the division. They did it last year, and we're right there tied until the last game of the season. They needed 14 wins to win that division. I don't think they get to 14 wins, but if J.J. McCarthy performs like Bo Nix, I think they're right there in the hunt for the division title and one of the top seeds in the NFC. Do I think it's going to happen? Not sure, but I can absolutely see he has all the weapons. He probably has more weapons than Bo Nix had. He has just as good of a coach and just as good as an opportunity. And I know he was drafted around, in the same area as Bo Nix. It was unfortunate that they got injured last year, but if it happens, I would view the Vikings as a strong contender in the NFC.
All right. Where would you put the Vikings? If you agree with us that the Lions and Eagles have the two best rosters in the NFC, and if you disagree, I'd love to hear it. Who has the next best roster in the NFC, if you know what I mean?
I do agree with you that it is the Eagles and Lions have the two best rosters. If I had to go next, I would probably go either Rams, Packers, or Commanders. I put the Vikings in that mix if McCarthy does well, if he is what Bo Nix was, because they have a tremendous roster. It's always tough when you're looking at a rookie quarterback, and call it what it is. That's what J.J. McCarthy is this year. He has not played an NFL down. So it's always tough to judge how a team's going to do with a rookie quarterback. But, hey, Jaden Daniels in Washington made the playoffs last year, and Bo Nix in Denver made the playoffs last year. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. Do you like prop bets, and do you like them on players? Like, you gave out some individual players in baseball yesterday. You also gave out the first period over of, 2.5 in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And obviously there were 3 goals scored in the first. Do you like individual prop bets? I do. In fact, I'd like to do individual prop bets, whether it's players, teams, first periods, first quarters, second half, etc., more than I like betting the games themselves, simply because you can isolate what you know and pick on a certain part of the game, a certain part of the matchup. If it's a player, a wide receiver versus a corner, the matchup you like, or if it's a running back versus a poor defense you like, or if it's a player that likes to drive the lane against a defense that's not good, or in the case of the hockey game last night, you had a situation where you had 2 teams that like to get out the fast starts, and you get to, listen, I didn't have to worry about the team over under last night. I didn't have to worry about whether the game was going to go over the 6.5, which it did, or go under, or worry about an empty net goal. I isolated the first period and said, these 2 teams like to get off the hot starts, and the Goldies seem to take a little bit longer to get ready. So the prop betting allows you to isolate those things, and that's a lot of what the betting with Bearman stuff does. Is it goes in there and says, all right, is this player, this matchup, this quarter, this period, is it better to bet this than the entire game? And you have to worry about the bullpen. One thing I love to bet in Major League Baseball is first 5 innings. You don't have to worry about the bullpen. You just got to worry about the starters. So those are the type of things I look at.
All right. Is that giving you any edge for tonight's NBA final game? Is there something you see that you like?
I do like Harrison and Turner to combine for less than 12.5 rebounds. I think the way these 2 teams play, the 2 centers are good, but I don't think it's set up where you're going to get a lot of rebounds from the big guys. So I have the two of them combined for under 12.5 rebounds. Both these teams like to run. Both these teams like to make shots from deep. And it's not a situation where we're going to have a lot of bad shots that get to a lot of rebounds from the center. So I'm isolating the centers and saying the two of them combined will go under 12.5 rebounds.
David Bearman, Chief Content Officer with Pro Football Network. And now it's Betting with Bearman. It's a daily newsletter. Go to pfnbetting.com, and sign up for it and take it from there. You can follow David on X at David Bearman, Bearman, David Bearman, PFN, David Bearman, PFN. I did not realize this until you sent this out yesterday. I did not realize that you were an intern with the Marlins. All right, which of course then leads us to ask, between the 3-game attendance figures, which were clearly false, and getting swept by the previously 9-50 Rockies, is this like a bottom 5 moment in Marlins history?
Wow, and that's a pretty low bar too.
Right.
I was wondering where you were going with that question.
Well, because you told a very funny anecdote on X yesterday in which you said you used to find the QAM mic in the early days of the Marlins and make noise into it to make it seem as if there were fans in the stadium.
I absolutely did. That is a true story that happened during the 1998 season after they won the title in 97 and then, as you know, dismantled the team. Jim Leland's Marlins in 98 went 54-108, and if you went to any games in July and August, especially the day games, I called it choose your own foul ball night, where every single section you could get a foul ball as you were the only person in the stands. There was one game in particular where I legitimately went underneath the QAM mic and just started screaming in it because that's how quiet it was. You could actually hear the players in the dugout shouting to like a guy that gets down and slide at second, or hey, scoot over, shade over in left field because it's a pull hitter. You could actually hear the players talking. That's how little attendance was. Obviously, it was a different stadium. It was Joe Robbie Stadium, Pro Player Stadium back in the day. But listen, there's been a lot of low moments. It's one of the weirder enigmas in franchise lore of the Marlins, because you got the 2 World Series titles, which a lot of teams would just give up their entire soul for. But that's about it. Everything else has been pretty much an abomination of a franchise run by multiple poor owners or owners that don't know what they're doing in the business, not putting a good product on the field, lots of issues with getting stadiums and non-competitive teams. And basically, you got to look at the talent. The Marlins have had talent for 30-something years. Just a matter of what they've done with them. They trade Giancarlo Stanton. They trade Christian Yelich. They've traded Josh Beckett and A.J. Burnett and on and on and on. If you look at the 1990, I love to tell the story. You look at the 1998 NL All-Star roster, and top to bottom, it was either somebody who used to play for the Marlins or somebody who was involved in the Marlins organization. So that bar is pretty low, but it also, you got to compare it. You just lost to a team, got swept by a team that entered 9-50 with one of the worst starts in Major League history. So I don't look at the crowd as anything significant, because this is no different than it was in 1998. It's just a different era with the same lack of empathy by the fan base because they're putting a poor product on the field and not trying to win. So why go to the games, especially going to a game against a 9-50 team? So all the images of the stadium being empty doesn't surprise me in the slightest, because this happens all the time. To me, it's more about the on-field performance. You just can't get swept at home by a 9-50 team. That's just embarrassing.
All right. Will the Dolphins be closer to the Marlins this year or the Panthers this year?
Wow. Close to playing in the Super Bowl or close to the worst team in football? I think they'll be closer to the Marlins, meaning they'll be under 500 by looking at the roster makeup and what they did or didn't do in the offseason. If you're looking at bottom of the barrel Marlins and top of the barrel Panthers, I would say closer to the Marlins, but not by a lot. This is an 8-9 team, and that's what they're going to be.
By the way, the Lions losing Ragnow after losing both coordinators, 10 new coaches on staff. We'll see if Hutchinson can return to previous form. But the loss of Ragnow, does that change your thinking at all about whether or not the Lions are the best team in the North?
It does, but I still think they win the division, but I don't think it's a 14-win Lions team. I think the Vikings take a step back. I think the Packers are the same as they were last year, and I think the Bears will get a little bit better. Obviously, last year was a two-man race between the Vikings and the Lions. I think the Vikings take a bigger step back than the Lions only because of the quarterback situation, which we previously discussed. I do think the Lions are the team to beat, but I think it's more of a 12-win Lions team than a 14-win Lions team.
David Bearman, Pro Football Network, ProFootballNetwork.com. And now, Betting with Bearman, which you can sign up for at pfnbetting.com. It's a daily newsletter, pfnbetting.com, Betting with Bearman. Follow David on X, as we've already just read you 2 or 3 tweets from yesterday and how informative and entertaining he is. Go to David Bearman, Bearman, David Bearman, PFN. David Bearman, PFN, and follow him on X. Hey, congratulations with the Betting with Bearman. Congratulations on the great start. And thanks for all you've done for us and Pro Football Network over these last couple of years. And hopefully we can talk again soon.
Absolutely. Love being on, love chatting, and hope you guys enjoy the newsletter. And if you have any feedback, please let me know.
Will do. David Bearman, PFN, David Bearman, PFN, Betting with Bearman. You know, we love it's like Miller and Moulton. You know, you got to love that alliteration, Mark. Betting with Bearman, Miller and Moulton.
Right. He's jumping out there. That's a lot. It's heavy betting when you're doing first period over-unders.
Right. Right. Also, he took the Nats on the money line last night. I mean, against the Cubs. I mean, that's a good call.
I was laughing last night because Gretz was really giving it to Biz about his record on his parlays. And 5-17 on parlays is not awful. I mean, I don't think if you're hitting those parlays, you're getting odds. So it's not terrible. So last night I found myself rooting for Biz. It was 3 shots or more for McDavid, a Kane point, and over the goal number. And it was going to go over the goal. It's going into overtime. Kane's on the ice for 2 goals, but doesn't get a helper on either. No. And Biz lost again.
I will say there were a couple of big-name guys who I thought were invisible last night. Kane and Tkachuk. Tkachuk did not look good last night. I mean, I thought listen, he's clearly not 100%. That Four Nations groin injury, he has not looked like the same guy. I thought he was invisible last night.
Yeah, I don't know. Kane was on the ice for 2 goals, was +2. All right. I'll respectfully disagree with you on that one because he made the forecheck that created a goal on a play. Okay. So that's good for something. We will talk some hockey with Dave Hyde next hour, as well as some basketball with Keith Smith. Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me,
I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor. A neighborly company.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Defining a new era in men's health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Irish, I really think you obviously very sporadically listen to the show. Go back and listen to what I said, because I all you say, you want to fight with me all the time. I was the one bringing up the good things about Knicks, for Christ's sake. So why don't you just say the Florida Panthers are dirty? Because they didn't make a dirty play at all last night. Not effing one. Man, you drain a lot of happy and positive energy out of me. So I hope you're proud. I mean, you really and truly drain positive energy from me, man. That's probably a me problem, but congratulations. You are something. For the record, Liberty was, you want to take a guess at what, because I didn't realize Doug had left Va Tech, went to Liberty, and now got the associate head coaching job at the University of Evansville. Want to take a guess at what Liberty was spending on softball NIL?
For the team?
Yeah.
$1 million.
200,000.
Huh. Well, it's early in the process. Give them time. Vatek to Liberty to Evansville?
Mm-hmm. I don't know the reasons why. I mean,
right. Who are we to judge?
But he was only the pitching coach. Now he's the associate head coach, so that could be more money.
It should be.
He had to give up his pitching school, which is where he made all his money because it was a conflict of interest. But now his brother runs his pitching school. So I've not had a long conversation with Doug in many years. So, I got to get the guest. Crap.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Halfway home in the 239 and the 904. Miller and Moulton on this Thursday. Final hour of the show in Lake City, Live Oak, and surrounding areas. Port Charlotte, Venice, and surrounding areas. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. 2 poll questions today. 1, Texas Tech spent $1 million to buy the pitcher from Stanford, and she has led Texas Tech to the softball national championship series. And we asked you, was the $1 million worth it? Hell yeah, they got their money's worth. Hell no, it was $1 million. You can't get that money's worth, not in softball. So those are our choices. And then, we ask about the NBA Finals, your level of interest in watching the finals, from no interest at all to I'm all in, and a couple of choices in between. Right now, I'm all in is winning. Less than 50% of the vote, but it is winning. Keith Smith, of course, is all in because he covers the association. Spot Rack, the NBA front office show on YouTube. Follow Keith on X, Keith Smith NBA. Keith Smith NBA. Keith, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. Excited for the finals tonight.
Before we get to the finals tonight, not just your reaction, but obviously you've got a lot of sources. The last 48 hours to digest the Knicks firing Tibbs. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it was surprising. I don't know that anyone necessarily saw this coming. They especially after they got, which I guess is the dreaded vote of confidence from players and others, that he wasn't going anywhere, and then this pops out that he's been fired. But you can kind of understand the rationale a little bit through the very minimal explanation we got, where if they didn't feel like he was the guy to lead them going forward, then it makes sense to move on and go in a different direction. And it sounds like that was where they got to, was we're not going to get over the hump with him as the head coach. And now we see where they go from here. They've mentioned that first-time head coaches, names have been thrown out there, but with their stated goal, winning a title, my guess is they're going to go with a veteran coach that's available.
Who do you think if they could hire whomever they wanted, who would it be?
I think it might be Michael Malone. That's just putting things together a little bit, where he's done really good work with really good offensive centers and scoring guards with his time with the Nuggets, with Jokic and Jamal Murray, and that you have kind of the template for that with Kat and Jalen Brunson. So that could be the direction that they go. But I've heard Jeff Van Gundy's name mentioned for them. I've heard Frank Vogel. I've heard Mike Budenholzer. I think it might be one of those guys, because I do think they're going to do what they can to get a veteran coach in there.
I'm just going to say I would be stunned. Van Gundy and Tibbs are tight. Malone and Tibbs are tight. I wonder if Van Gundy and Malone would do that to Tibbs, to be honest with you. I understand it's the Knicks' job and a chance to win the series, and they both have connections to it. But there's a part of me that thinks that the friendship outweighs the Knicks' job. That's why I don't think it's going to be either one, but we shall see. Meanwhile, Oklahoma City, in your estimation, are they as big a favorite as they are projected? I mean, 9.5 points tonight. Tough to find anybody who thinks this series is even going to go 6. I mean, are they that much better than the Pacers?
They should be the favorite, and they're better than the Pacers, but I don't think they should be this overwhelming favorite that we're seeing them painted as, through whether it be the betting odds or through the a lot of the analysis of the series. I think the Pacers do some things that counter what the Thunder do quite well. I think the Thunder are really good at turning teams over, creating live ball turnovers, getting out and running for baskets and those kind of things, and I think that's big for them. And then I think we're in a spot where the Pacers, they counter that. They always have 2, 3, or 4 ball handlers on the floor who are good passers. They don't turn the ball over very much. They can score points. The Thunder sometimes go through these little bit of offensive droughts. I think the Thunder are better. I think they will win, but I think it's going to be a long competitive series.
Well, how do you defend SGA then? Because to me, slowing him down and keeping him off the line, which is damn near impossible. But how would you defend SGA if you're the Pacers?
Yeah, I'd put Andrew Nembhard on him. I'd put TJ McConnell on him, and I'd tell those guys, pick him up 94 feet. Make him work. Make him work just to get the ball up. One of the weaknesses the Thunder have had kind of all year is they don't have great ball handlers. They struggle sometimes to make plays. The way they, go about, getting the ball just up the floor. So I think that's a challenge for them sometimes to really get to where they need to be. So I think what we're going to see is the Pacers are going to pressure them. I think they're going to be up on them, and they're going to do what they need to try to make them work just to get the ball up the floor. And then in the half court, you switch. You put Aaron Nesmith on them for size. You put Pascal Siakam on him every once in a while. You just kind of keep giving him different looks, because if you give him the same look in the half court too many times, he's going to figure it out, and he's just going to beat you pretty easily.
Keith Smith, who dives into the analytics with Spot Rack and then provides information on the NBA front office show. You can follow Keith on X at Keith Smith NBA, Keith Smith NBA. Listen, how important are the ratings for this series? I mean, you make your living off the NBA. You obviously want it to do as well as possible. I know beginning next year, this huge money media deal kicks in. So does it matter if there's not a ton of interest in this series? I mean, just your thoughts, the folks you talk to. I mean, how important is it that people get into this series and this doesn't turn into the Spurs Cavs of 2007?
It matters, but it shouldn't matter to fans. Like the number of fans that I see, out there, this is going to be the worst rated finals ever, and no one's going to watch this because who cares about these teams? That part has been confusing to me. I understood it when it was clearly coming from Knicks fans who were mad and angry and bitter that they're not there playing. Like, I got that, but just the average fans out there, the best way I saw it put was somebody replied to a tweet about it and said, but do you share a bank account with the NBA or the broadcast partners? Like, if you don't, like, what, it's going to be good basketball. And that's what is getting missed here. The Thunder are an all-time great team. Like this team, if they win, especially if they win easily in this series, we need to start having real conversation about where these guys rank on the all-time list, because all the metrics tell us, like, this is one of the best teams we've ever seen. So, you've got them. You've got the Pacers play a really exciting style. There are stars in this series. So it does matter. I think it only matters to the extent of, like, right now, and is there an issue going forward in the NBA? But I think the big thing is the NBA is going to look at it and say, hey, we just signed billions of dollars of media rights deals. And I think the last part that I'll say is, the traditional ratings metrics don't matter as much anymore. The NBA was very clear when they went in that they were looking for streaming partners who really understand that side and that model of the business. They continue to tell us, hey, our fans are finding our games in different ways other than watching just on regular television. So that's something else that needs to be factored in also.
I'm so glad you brought that up about Oklahoma City. I've been saying it, but I'm not the hoop head. I'm a guy hosting a show, and we don't do as much NBA as other shows because our market doesn't love it as much. But you're so right that this Oklahoma City team, 68 wins, one of the best defensive teams to play basketball in a long time. And even when you look at their pace, offensively, they're up there. They've got a young budding star. The question I have for you, though, Keith, is, everybody likes to copy what works. Can you copy Oklahoma City and Indiana's methodology to build these teams? Or was there a certain amount of luck factored in to how each of these teams were built? Because they're very low spending compared to others, and they got, I don't know about lucky, but they did it through drafting. They've done it through some methods that typically teams haven't. Can teams copy this method to get good?
You have to have a lot of patience if you're going to go the route that the Pacers and Thunder did, and that's where it all kind of falls apart. Everybody likes to say at the beginning of a rebuild, all right, we're in this for the long haul, we're going to do this the right way, and then you get like 2 years in, and your first-round pick from a couple years ago hasn't become an all-star, and then it's like, hey, let's start trading picks for guys. We want to get good, and that's where it all kind of falls apart. The Thunder, much like Sam Presti built them up the first time around, they nailed the draft. Like, they nailed the Durant, Westbrook, and Harden draft. Then in this iteration, they didn't draft SGA, but they acquired him as, a very, very young player. And were from day one there. If you go back and look at what they were saying when they made that trade, that he was the big part of the trade for them. They got Chris Paul, they got Danilo Gallinari, they were happy to get those guys too at the time, but they were like, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was the piece we really had to have in this trade. And then Holmgren and Williams, getting them in the draft. Their other supplemental moves they've made have been huge, and that's where I think you run into the trouble is teams just run out of patience to do it the right way. The Pacers drafted, they made smart trades, they made really smart signings when they did go get guys. These two teams are just built really, really smartly over a number of years. And if anybody wants to try to follow that model, good luck. And then with the Thunder, of course, it helps if you have about 900 draft picks in about a 7-year period. That's also pretty good. But acquiring those, that's harder or easier said than done, I guess is the best way to put it.
And the Thunder have so many picks over the next 5 to 7 years. You wonder if they're going to have to defer those picks and because they've got so many of them and they don't need all those players. It's a nice luxury to have. Keith, safe travels. Enjoy the finals. Maybe we'll catch up again by the end of it. We always appreciate your time and your insight. All the best.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
Keith Smith, NBA, as they follow him on X. Keith Smith, NBA. Thunder in 6.
Thunder in 5. I had to bring up the copycat question because for every Oklahoma City that's done it with the draft and an unbelievable trade, there's Philadelphia. There's no guarantees that it works being patient. None whatsoever.
And Keith's analysis, the Knicks were being patient, and then they gave up 5 first-round picks and pick swaps for Mikal Bridges. Okay, and now they have no draft picks going forward. Yeah, teams get patient to a point, and then they go all in. And the Thunder and Pacers, they haven't pushed their chips in at all. They're the finals.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Wow, that's how high the over-under is? Damn.
So I got a text, David, that said, missed the first hour of the show. Did you happen to mention Portugal beating Germany? I simply replied, no. No surprise there. Next text. Oh, by the way, I'm now listening to WGCU. I'm like, that is your choice. Curious why you felt the need to share that, because we didn't mention European soccer match. And then he proceeded to level all talk shows, and he doesn't care about sports anymore, and he only cares about certain sports, including European soccer, alpine skiing, college lacrosse, and the Tour de France. And I didn't type back, but I nearly typed back, stick to PBS then.
Yeah, that's...
I mean, it's like, if you really think we're going to talk about any of that crap on our show, you're high.
Yeah, that's really limiting our audience there.
You think?
Wow. Over-under's 230.5. That is high. I mean, that's 120, 110. Give or take a half a point.
Deadstroke, that is incredibly funny and snarky. Well done by you.
That's outstanding. I deserve that. No, Sonny, you're right. And I just, it'll be interesting if the NBA fan will be okay with OKC and San Antonio dominating things.
By the way, just so you guys know, if you post a link, we cannot click on it. It doesn't show up as a link we can click. And I can trust you you can trust me when I say this. There is no way in hell that I'm ever copying and pasting a link you guys post to look at something. It's not, I don't have time. We're on a different service than Twitch chat. We're on two. We're on YouTube and Twitch simultaneously. We use a program called StreamYard. The links don't come through. So whatever it is you're trying to tell me through a link, I'm not getting, nor am I looking at. Seth will only talk Arsenal soccer, though, CBW. He's as jaded with what he talks about as any fan. I love Seth. Good luck with that, Fly Panda Fly.
I mean, what was your pick again? Pacers
Pacers
in 5?
in 5.
Huh? Well.
Even Felipe, when we were texting with him, who was high on the Pacers a year ago, Texas that I was a year early on the Pacers, said, I still think Oklahoma City's going to sweep them.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Thanks so much for being with us. Dave Hyde from the Sun Sentinel has been writing a lot about the Panthers these days. He'll join us coming up. Panthers lost game 1 in overtime to Edmonton 4-3. Oilers on the power play late in the first overtime, about 30 or so seconds before the intermission. McDavid set up Draisaitl. 4-3 Edmonton. You concerned at all from what you saw? I mean, Edmonton controlled far more of that game than the Panthers did.
Yeah, Edmonton was the better team last night. Both teams scored a power play goal. Edmonton took the play to Florida for most of the game. Florida has the ability, however, David, to score in bunches. Mm-hmm. They seem to, they score and then score again. So, no, I will say there's one stat from last night that I found during the game that turned out to come back and bite. Not bite the Florida Panthers, but the Florida Panthers were 31-0 when holding a lead at the end of the first or second period in Stanley Cup playoff games since Paul Maurice was hired in 2023. They're now 31-1.
And so Edmonton has beaten the Panthers now 4 of the last 5 times they've played in the finals. Edmonton thinks they've got Florida figured out. They think they're tougher this year. They think their defense can move the puck better, okay, and that they can play to their strengths more than they were able to last year. Edmonton's completely convinced they're the better team.
Well, all of those things, David, are true, but you're, to me, missing out on the most important difference between last year and this year. Draisaitl couldn't skate last year. He was playing on one leg by the time the damn final started. He was useless. And this is maybe the second best player in the league. He's completely healthy for this series. How'd he do last night?
Well, he looked pretty good last night. Scored twice.
Uh-huh.
Early and late. Yes.
Right.
And was a problem in the middle. Yes. That is true.
His ability to get a shot off from anywhere, like he can take a one-timer and shoot it normally where you shoot it. If it gets in his body, he manages to get shots off. He's gifted in getting a shot off.
Game 2 tomorrow night. We'll talk a little Panthers with Dave Hyde coming up.
I have a fun little factoid, David.
Okay.
And you may be bothered that I'm going here, but I'm doing it anyway. Today is an anniversary. Darren Ravel just put an article out, and I did not know this. It was 40 years ago today. You've all seen the movie. But essentially, it was today that Ferris Bueller Cameron Fry, and Sloan Peterson took the day off from school. And this was all figured out because of Baseball Prospectus employee Larry Granello. He did it over 14 years ago. Because there's one highlight of a Cubs game in the movie. We've all seen Ferris Bueller catch the foul ball. And the principal misses Ferris catching the foul ball because he's taking a bite of pizza. Lee Smith was on the mound. He was pitching to Claudell Washington from the Braves. Granello searched game logs, and it found that Washington only hit one foul ball off of Lee Smith in their entire careers. It occurred in the 11th inning of a game on June 5th, 1985. Now, they filmed the scenes in Wrigley in September at a different game, and they're convinced that they're not sitting in the same seats for different shots that they took, because they were trying to figure out the exact seats in which Ferris and their crew were sitting for the game. But Baseball Prospectus broke it down that the only time Claudell Washington hit a foul ball off of Lee Smith was June 5th, 1985.
That's some research right there.
Damn right it is.
That's not just at bats against Lee Smith.
Oh,
that's not how you did in the at bats versus Lee Smith. That's whether or not you hit a foul ball in your at bats against Lee Smith. My goodness. All right. Good.
So I thought that was fun. I wanted to share that because most of us have seen that movie, and it really doesn't matter how old you are, because I know my son, who's in his mid-20s, loved that movie when he was a teenager. So that movie kind of stood the test of time, and I thought that was some fun research done by the Baseball Prospectus people. A couple of poll questions that we have today. First off, when will you start watching the NBA Finals? Tonight, and you're going to watch all of it. If it gets to 2-2, if it gets to a game 6, or you're not watching any of it. And those folks are now awake after watching overtime last night and have started voting. 46% of you say you're not watching any of the NBA Finals. I'm sorry. These are two good teams. I think it's going to be better than you think. Even though I think it's going 5, I think there'll be really close games when they go back to Indianapolis. The other is about the Texas Tech softball pitcher. She signed a $1 million NIL deal. Did Texas Tech get their money's worth? 73% of you are saying that they did. Sure, a few more of you would be saying that they did if she knew how to pitch an intentional walk. Because in baseball, you just put 4 fingers down and the runner goes to first base. In softball, apparently you still got to throw 4 balls. She threw 3. Then she threw one over the plate. The Texas catcher drilled a single into left center that scored 2 and was the difference in the game. Game 2 of the College Softball World Series is tonight.
I'm surprised after at the highest levels that, they agreed to do the 4 fingers, that I'm surprised that didn't trickle down. But, then again, every form of basketball plays quarters, except for men's Division I college basketball. They still play 2 20-minute halves. I believe that's been on the agenda to vote on, but I don't believe they've passed it to go to 10-minute quarters. I do want to give you your due before we bring Dave Hyde on. So your thoughts on Rob Manfred, saying, hey, I think we can have the automated ball strike system, the ABS it's called. All right. I think we can have it for next year. I'm going to put it before our 11-man competition committee. Okay. And I want it, and I want it now.
And he thinks he has the votes with the competition committee. I mean, this is like any other commissioner. They don't bring this before the panel, if you will, if they don't think they have the votes. He does. I applaud this. I've wanted this forever.
So they've been using it in spring training. They have 288 games worth of material. Teams were successful on 52% of their ball strike challenges. That's low to me. I would have thought it was higher.
Very low. I would have thought it would have been in the 75% range, David.
So, now in the Florida State League, they have a system to challenge check swings. That's not a part of this. Okay, this is just balls and strikes. By the way, that Laz Diaz pitch that we were talking about, 7 inches outside is what the 6.83 inches is how far the computer said it was outside. Oh my goodness.
I mean, when you can put basically a public sub between the outside of the plate and where the pitch crossed and it's still a strike, I think we have a problem.
By the way, I'll be very curious whether they can get this ABS system in for next year, because remember, after the 26 season, there's no CBA, and all is going to break loose in baseball. Between the
Every bit of
owners, all is going to break loose just between the owners and the owners. Never mind then when they finally get around to what they're going to ask the players, and the players are going to look at them and go, we've told you the answer is no to all this stuff. So I'll be curious if he can get it for next year, Mark, because if not, this could take a while. Dave Hyde of the Sun Sentinels next.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. I've been a customer for over a year and cannot say enough good things about their service and communication. If you're a business owner, you can trust Molly Maid to do an exceptional job. Their expert team delivers tailored cleaning for whatever your needs, ensuring a pristine environment for clients and staff. Visit mollymaid.com/FT-Myers or call 239-418-0052. Molly Maid makes my home shine, and it will make your home or business shine too. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
It's summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from that fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
It was funny, too. Adam Silver got asked a similar question about market size in an interview and said, if it was Green Bay versus Pittsburgh, 2 small markets, you guys would all be going crazy about what a great Super Bowl it is.
Yeah, it's a
I mean,
little...
but I got you, but he went extremes, you know.
But Oklahoma City, Indiana is more like, Arizona,
Carolina,
Jacksonville. I mean, come on now.
Dave is on.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. The word great is thrown around way too much in sports and in our society. Our next guest is a great columnist, has been for a long time for the South Florida Sun-Sentinel. He's Dave Hyde. You can follow Dave on X at Dave Hyde, HYDE Sports, Dave Hyde Sports, also author of 3 books. Dave, it's David and Mark. Good morning. Thanks for doing this, particularly at this hour. How are you?
I'm doing well, even in Edmonton. Long way from the sunshine. Yesterday, I went to bed. It was 47 degrees, so don't expect that in June.
No, I don't think any of us do. Just give us an idea. Set the scene for us, Edmonton. It was a crazy scene. They're obviously rabid hockey fans. They're dying for a cup because it's been so long, not just for Edmonton, but for the entire country. What was the scene like yesterday heading into the game?
Well, it's pretty electric. It's you pick any great sports scene, and here it was. This city's been waiting 12 months for this Stanley Cup final, and then you throw on, all the attention on Connor McDavid and the, it's the whole country, really a whole sport is rooting for him to get his first Stanley Cup, and but this is a one sport town in in the main sport in the country, and you don't see many scenes like this too much in sports.
Dave, what's this been like for you personally? Because you've covered just about every scenario you can cover in South Florida sports. I mean, you even wrote a book about the 72 Dolphins. Obviously, you've been there for the Heat. And now the Florida Panthers, who 7 to 10 years ago could have gotten up and moved, and I don't know if anybody would have paid attention. And now they're 2 weeks away from potentially being a dynasty. I'm just curious, as a South Florida sports guy, never mind a media member, what's this experience been like for you?
Yeah, it's still, I'm not sure it's sunk in, even though we're in the third year of them being in the finals, and that for a quarter century they were nothing. They were the laughingstock many times of the sport, and really it comes down to when Bill Zito walked in the door, their general manager, and started pretty much every move he's made has been gold. And it reminds you in sports, you need, really starts with one guy for all the attention on other things. It starts with one guy coming in the room, and he came in and started making trades. And thank God we're a hockey town in South Florida, because none of the other teams are doing too much right now.
There's no doubt. The Panthers are it at this particular moment in time. Who would you, if anybody, compare Paul Maurice to in any sport from a coaching standpoint that you've dealt with? He's a quote machine. He seems to think out what he's going to say. He has some individualistic ideas that others don't have. Are there any comps that you've covered to Paul Maurice?
Trying to think off the top of my head. People I've covered. Well, he has a grasp on the team, on the moment, what needs to be said. Sometimes you ask him why he was angry on the bench, and he'll say, I just thought the team needed some profanity. And some, and this is, I'm not sure. I'm not comparing him, but you could to a Pat Riley or a Jimmy Johnson or anybody at the top of his profession. What's interesting about him is, he'd been a head coach for over 30 years, and he never really been given the material, the great material to work with. He'd been to a Stanley Cup final once, but then he steps into this thing, and it's sort of, if you want to, again, just off the top of my head, when Don Schulich stepped into the 70, he came into the Dolphins in 70. They had a lot of talent. It just hadn't been molded into something great. So, I guess that would be the easiest comparison. This was it was a really good team. They had the best regular season record before he got here, but they weren't. They got run out in the playoffs. Their system didn't work in the playoffs. And here comes a guy who's, for 30 years, he's built a system and figured out how to be the head coach, to lead a team. And it's sort of a perfect marriage of a guy looking for waiting for a team like this, and a team needing to be organized and to be set up like that. So, and he's the third or fourth all-time winningest coach in hockey, but a year ago he hadn't won a Stanley Cup, and now he's trying to win back-to-back Stanley Cups.
Dave Hyde, South Florida Sun-Sentinel columnist. Follow him on X, Dave Hyde, HYDE Sports. Dave Hyde Sports. Do the Panthers realize how much so many people are against him? It has surprised the two of us throughout the playoffs how many fan bases think they're dirty, cheap, don't like him, and now they get to the final, and there's a whole country, and then there's the people in the sport that want the best player in the sport to get a cup, and I think all of us hockey fans want McDavid to at least get one ring before he's done. But do the Panthers sense the angst towards them in the outside world?
I never know how a team lives in a bubble like that. They understand who Connor McDavid is, and the sport wants him to win. Half of them are Canadian, so they understand that no Canadian teams won in 3 decades won the cup, and and so that their country is rooting for the Canadian team. And as far as they're being the dirty team or the team with that's hockey's a weird sport, and that's almost a badge of honor. To have you look at a guy like Sam Bennett. He had 2 goals last night. He had big hits. He leads the NHL in goals these playoffs, and he might lead it in fights. And that's the kind of guy every team in hockey wants, the guy who'll play on the edge. And it's the only sport where they actually do have villains. This guy's plays over the edge, but every team wants somebody like that. And the Panthers really have 3 guys who are high talent. They could be top lines, players, and Kachuk and Bennett and Brad Marchand. But also they'll go over the line of what's proper in the hockey if a night calls for it. And again, that's what it's every team wants players like that.
No doubt. I've said all along, there aren't too many teams that wouldn't trade their entire roster, head coach, and GM for what the Panthers have. That's the team most hockey fans want to see. How concerned, if at all, are you, or should any of us be? The Panthers were perfect under Paul Maurice when leading after 2 periods in the postseason. They were leading after 2 periods last night and lost for the first time. Any concern?
Yeah, there has to be concern. You're down 1-0 against a really good, a really good team. Team that you took 7 games to beat last year. So you don't want to fall behind 2-0. Obviously, there's the concern. You go down 2-0, all of a sudden you have to win 4 of the next 5, and that's a tall order. So. The one great thing about this team, though, is they never panic. They never, try to do something beyond what their, what their method calls for, and that's, that they stay in their system. They stay trusting their teammates, and. So we'll see how this carries out tomorrow, Friday night. Yeah, tomorrow night. Because, again, it's a tall order if they go down 2-0 to win 4 of the next 5.
Yeah, Edmonton's not Toronto. That is for sure. It feels like the Panthers need to get out of town 1-1, but we shall see. Dave, thanks so much for doing this, particularly at this hour. Enjoy the final, safe travels, and hopefully we can talk again.
Perfect. It's a long travel. It's an 11-hour flight. It's easier to get to Rome than to Edmonton. It's quicker.
All right. So, is it direct? Do you travel with the team, or how do you get there?
No. You to get here, I flew through Houston, and then it's a 5-hour flight from Houston to Edmonton, and so it's with waiting and everything, it's an 11-hour trip, and you can go to many places in the world quicker than and beyond that, you probably want to go to many places in the world before Edmonton. But here we are. So. No, thanks for having me. It's good talking to you.
Thanks, Dave. Have a great one.
Find some good cuisine today, Dave. Thanks so much. Dave Hyde, great columnist, South Florida Sun-Sentinel. Been doing it a long time. For a Dolphin fan out there, the book's almost 3 years old, but it's called Still Perfect. So the subject matter because it still applies. If you want to go find it, Father's Day coming up and all, I'm just saying, Dolphin in your life.
Right. We got you the Lions book yesterday for the Lion fan in your life, or a couple of days ago. Now we get you the Dolphins book, just helping you out for Father's Day.
That's all. Just, Dad's worth it. We think so. So Still Perfect, Dave Hyde. Dave Hyde Sports, HYDE, Dave Hyde Sports is how you follow him on X. I'll say this: they don't come back from 2-0 against Edmonton.
We'll see. I'm not with you on that one. I think that they can. We'll see. I think this is still a long series between two incredibly even matched teams. I thought it was, that last power play for Edmonton. They did not have the power plays we thought they were going to get. Florida was not as physical as I thought they would be last night.
They were very disciplined. They took a lot of hits and they just kept playing. I think the respect they have for the Edmonton power play, they're like, no, we are not going to retaliate and give them the man advantage. Nope.
So Edmonton with a big game one win. As we mentioned, Florida under Maurice had not lost when leading after one or two periods in the Stanley Cup playoffs. That's the first time that happened. We'll see if Edmonton, and I don't know if they stole the game because I think they played better than the Panthers, but were trailing headed into the third and got the equalizer to force overtime. I don't know about you, and I almost texted to you last night, but I was thinking the whole third period that we were playing an extra period.
I did too. I also thought Florida didn't get enough out of the second period. They went into the second period with a 2-1 lead, and they had a great 5-minute stretch in the first period. Edmonton might have been the better team for most of the other 15 minutes. Panthers dominated the second period. Shots on goal at one point were 17-3 in the second period, and they come out of the period and they still only have a 1-goal lead. And I think against most other teams they had played this year in the playoffs, Mark, if they entered that period with a 1-goal lead and outshot Toronto or Carolina or Tampa 17-3, they would have had a multi-goal lead going to the third.
And Skinner was really good. Both goaltenders were for a 4-3 game. The goaltending was played at an incredibly high level. Both teams had grade A chances, a couple of mistakes that left guys alone in front. McDavid, I think, hit 2 posts in the game. So the game was played at a very high level. If you give me 6 of those, I want 7. You give me 6 of those.
Wow.
Sign me up right now.
Yes, I turn her up too. Because scoring late in the first overtime, that's like for whatever ratings this series is going to get, that's like perfect. Okay, most fans can in the Eastern time zone, they can suck it up for one overtime. You lose a lot of your audience.
Other fans jump in when it's overtime too. The rating goes up typically when you get to overtime. So your first point's exactly right, David. But people, whether it's social media or whatever the case may be, when it's overtime, more people typically gravitate towards that game. Edmonton up 1-0. The NBA Finals get started tonight. We are Miller and Moulton. Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
Defining a new era in men's health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. I've been a customer for over a year and cannot say enough good things about their service and communication. If you're a business owner, you can trust Molly Maid to do an exceptional job. Their expert team delivers tailored cleaning for whatever your needs, ensuring a pristine environment for clients and staff. Visit mollymaid.com/FT-Myers or call 239-418-0052. Molly Maid makes my home shine, and it will make your home or business shine too.
Miller and Moulton would like to thank the sponsors that, quite frankly, saved the show in 2024. Whether it was Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Molly Maid, Cigar Bar, Sleep Treatment Direct, the Diamond District, and even the Cape Coral Police Department, thank you. We're hopeful of a great 2025, still needing sponsors, so reach out to Miller and Moulton via X at that Mark Miller or the David Moulton, or text us at 21,000. But Miller and Moulton says thank you to our sponsors and to you, our loyal listeners.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I will say this, guys, in the chat room. I'm just letting you know, a lot of the Twitch chatters have left and gone to YouTube. They have. A lot of the regulars. And you can draw your own conclusions as to why. And Ambient, I know you love tennis, and I respect your love for tennis. Couple of things. Alcaraz and Skinner will have to play at the level they're playing at for a decade to even start talking about them being in the all-time great rank. I mean, a decade to even get any consideration. That's the first thing. Lastly, the French Open, just from a watchability standpoint, for most, it may do better than the Australian because of time, but it is far and away the third major, and it's not close compared to Wimbledon and the U.S. Open. It's just not a big deal. I mean, that's why the rights have gone all the way to TNT, because no one wanted them. It's not called Roland Garros. It's called the French Open, but it's played at Roland Garros. That's the venue.
Right. The slow red clay of Roland Garros.
By the way, I sent that text you sent me last night directly to our guy at Lee County this morning.
Totally, right?
He gave me the love or the thumbs up on it.
Anthony, I hope you like it. And thanks for watching and subscribing.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on this first Thursday of June. Stanley Cup final got underway last night. NBA finals get underway tonight. NBA finals, the focus of one of our poll questions. We know it's Oklahoma City and Indiana. We know most of you have no rooting interest in either team, but it is a championship. So how many of you are going to watch? And to what degree are you going to watch? It's NBA finals, I'm all in. Or, no, man, it's Oklahoma City, Indiana, I care less. Or are you open to this series can bring you in, depending on how it goes? We've got 4 choices. Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton, and vote. Our other poll question, it's an interesting topic. This is one of those topics, Mark, normally, if it were 3-4 weeks from now and it was really slower, this is the type of topic you could do multiple segments on. So Texas Tech is playing Texas softball national championship series. It's a best of 3. Texas won game 1 last night, 2-1, game 2 tonight. Texas Tech is in the final largely because they bought a pitcher from Stanford for $1 million. No joke. She was at Stanford. She was really good. Texas Tech said, with you, we could go places. And $1 million this year to pitch softball for Texas Tech. And they're in the championship.
I mean, they've done this in 1 year. They hired a coach who was at Louisiana and built a really good program there. Okay, that's step 1.
Right.
He goes nuts in the portal.
Yep.
But it's all because of a married couple by the name of John and Tracy Sellers. Tracy Sellers played softball for Texas Tech. She married John. John's got some money. And by some money, I would imagine a lot of money. Because they basically founded the Matador Club at Texas Tech. They gave Texas Tech softball $1 million for renovations to the facility. That does not include the $1 million they gave the pitcher, nor the rest of the NIL money they gave to the team to ensure that not just the $1 million pitcher, but the entire roster was making NIL cash.
So obviously the young lady really wants Texas Tech softball to do well and said to hubby, hey, if you want me happy, we're going to subsidize this. So we just asked the question, was the $1 million well spent? They are playing for the Natty, but then again, it's softball. How much bang for your buck do you think they're getting? I think it was very well spent. Mark thinks, and no, it didn't have to go that high. Come on.
And to be honest, there are a lot of questions when we get this house settlement deal, whenever the hell they get done with it, because poor Amanda Kristovich is still waiting on this damn thing, and she'd like to go on vacation.
Well, no, she left. She left the Friday heading into Memorial Day weekend. I believe her vacation ends this weekend. They still haven't settled this sucker. She said, I've got 2 stories, 90% written. One is they come to an agreement. One is they don't. I just need it to happen.
And I did get a text. I knew he was in the energy business, the Sellers. Someone, and I don't know it to be fact, but I'll take this texter at its word. He sold his oil and natural gas company for $4 billion.
So, $1 million. I mean, he's spending probably what, $2.5 million, $1 million for facilities, $1 million for the pitcher. Hey, sprinkle $500,000 around amongst the other ladies. That'll be fine. That'll be great.
But the question going forward, David, on this, and it's a legit question, what's this NIL clearinghouse going to do? because this whole deal could be illegal in whenever this settlement comes out. How they're going to enforce it is an entirely different question. But for the schools like Texas Tech in softball, Kentucky and North Carolina, what they've done in basketball, all the big boy football teams, there are questions about the legality going forward of collectives NIL deals. It's going to be a mess again.
I'm going to make a prediction. It's going to be deemed legal, and the universities are going to be like, oh, yeah, we have 2 pots of money to draw from. The $20.5 million pot from amongst ourselves. And then, hey, if all you outsiders want to contribute too, that's fine. Sure. We'll keep paying people what we're paying them. You know, it costs more every year. Okay. We're not going to operate on a budget. Are you kidding me? This is big time college sports. Budget? What's a budget?
But in these other sports, I have a longtime friend, someone that lived across the street from me when I was 3 years old. One of the first people I met when we moved from an apartment into our first home. He's now the associate head coach at now the University of Evansville. He'd made a couple moves, and I reached out to him today. I said, what are you guys spending on NIL? He's like, not a damn thing. He was at Liberty before that, where they spent $200,000 for the softball team on NIL. And he said it's all over the place. Some teams spend nothing. Texas Tech got a rich booster whose wife played softball and she wanted the team to be good.
Yep.
Michigan doesn't get Underwood and everybody thinks it's Portnoy. Portnoy had a lot to do with it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not here to knock Dave Portnoy. He's incredible at what he's done. But Portnoy did not get Underwood. It was a billionaire alumni's husband.
Right.
And she went to her husband and said, we need to be better at football. We need a quarterback. I need your money.
Right. Honey,
He said yes.
Do you know we beat Ohio State and Alabama last year and didn't throw for 100 yards in either game? Imagine if we could throw for 200 yards a game, how many games we'd win. All right. I'm in. How much you need? I need $3 million a year for 4 years. Well, what are we getting? We're getting a quarterback. One? Yes, just one. Oh, okay. So those are our 2 poll questions. All right. Vote accordingly.
And, we got a text that says college sports is a blank show with NIL. Congress gets involved and Trump, that'll get fixed quickly. No, it won't. Have you not seen the NCAA's track record against athletes making money in court? They've not lost.
Have you paid attention? It sounds like you're, a fan of this particular administration and what's going on. Have you not paid attention to what happened within 7 to 10 days of the president saying, I think we should put a commission together and, we could fix this whole thing and what have you. Yeah, he backtracked away from that pretty quickly.
Really fast.
Yeah. And
think about how much, look, not to go political, but think about how much when he has an idea,
right,
how often he backs off of that idea. Come on now.
And basically he got talking to Nick Saban and Nick Saban said, I don't think you want to go there. And by the way, I'm not heading the commission, just so you know. I don't want anything to do with the commission.
Right.
So
I think it needs to be fixed, but I don't think this is the way to do it.
You got anybody else in mind? I know we were talking at that commencement address at Alabama, but Tommy Tuberville's running for governor and I'm on game day. So you got anybody else in mind? Because we're busy. So don't count on anything coming from our nation's capital about this. I wouldn't count on it at all. I mean, the White House has already backed off. So that's it. It ain't happening. I'm not sure it should, by the way. This seems to be a free market thing, right?
Yeah.
It is for the coaches in the schools. Why can't it be for the talent? But anyway, can I I don't know if were you ever with a team in which they knew they were going to lose and they like booked the flight out of town before the game?
You mean like in the playoffs?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
If they did, I'm glad I never found out about it. I'd have gone nuts.
So this Russian Bublik, he's a tennis player. Okay. He made it to the quarters of the French Open. He's the 62nd ranked player in the world. He's going to turn 28 years old in like 10 days. Okay. He's won 4 tournaments in his career. His career earnings, by the way, are over $8 million. You know, not bad. I mean, none of us know who he is. Nice little life for himself. Right. So he's playing Sinner in the quarterfinals, the number 1 seed. After the match, they go, hey, what'd you think your chances were coming in? He said, oh, I booked my flight out of town. They went, what? He said, oh, yeah, I'm going to the United States. I've never seen the Grand Canyon. They go, no, are you serious? He goes, oh, yeah. He goes, I was playing Sinner. Kid's a machine. I got no chance. You kidding me? I love it. It's probably wrong of him to think that way.
You think?
It's like
I'd be questioning the match being fixed, for crying out loud.
I played him hard. I won 7-7-5. Okay, you know, the other set was 1 break of serve, 6-3. I mean, you know, he gave it his best. He just said, I got nothing for that guy. That guy just destroys me. So I thought you'd appreciate that. By the way, this French female qualifier who's playing Coco Golf later today, her career earnings coming into the French Open were less than $150,000.
What will she make if she loses the semi? Do you have any idea?
$788,000 she's already made this week.
That's pretty good.
That's
considering.
You know, 146,000 career earnings, 788 over the last 2 weeks. Not only that,
that'll play.
Not only that, she's French and she's doing it at the French Open. How great a story is this?
It's terrific. I certainly hope Coco Gauff beats her brains out.
Yeah, this is enough. You know, Johnny Mack, when he broke on the scene as a qualifier at Wimbledon, Jimmy took him out in the semis. That seemed perfect. You know, let Jimmy take on Borg in the final. John will be back in a couple years. We'll see what happens to this young lady, but nice run, young lady. Good job. Hope it's Coco in the final.
By the way, didn't Johnny Mack bring up Thibodeau during the broadcast getting fired?
Well, yes. Yes, because it happened while they were on the air. Yes.
Outstanding. And Johnny Mack doesn't hold back on anything, not nearly on his beloved Knicks as well. Miller and Moulton. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122. or nolanagency.com.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from that fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. I've been a customer for over a year and cannot say enough good things about their service and communication. If you're a business owner, you can trust Molly Maid to do an exceptional job. Their expert team delivers tailored cleaning for whatever your needs, ensuring a pristine environment for clients and staff. Visit mollymaid.com/FT-Myers or call 239-418-0052. Molly Maid, makes my home shine, and it will make your home or business shine too. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I was going to have some time during the break for all of you in the YouTube room. I was going to tell them that McDavid's Jesus. I was going to have some fun with that guy. Yeah, we've been getting. Oh, do I believe in Christ? Oh, you're back in there. I believe that he existed. Sure, believe that there was a guy. As a lifelong Catholic, I have a little difficulty with the whole Immaculate Conception thing. That's just me.
By the way, you were talking about McEnroe. Did you hear yesterday? They're trying to promote, because TNT, True TV has the French Open. So they're promoting the Stanley Cup final later tonight. All right. Brian Anderson's with Mac, and he's saying, later tonight, 7:00, make sure you tune in, game one, blah, blah, blah. Mac goes, what time's it start? Brian Anderson goes, well, 7:00. He goes, no. What time does the game start? Brian Anderson, it's like, John, we really need to emphasize the 7:00. He goes, well, okay, but I'm guessing that's not when it starts.
Got that right.
Tell you what, though, I love the anthems. How about the 4 pallbearers with Liam McHugh last night? They all went black, coordinated.
They are so all openly rooting for the Edmonton Oilers that it's not even funny. I mean, Wayne said it.
Well, and he was honest.
Wayne said it. He was, I get it. Biz said it.
Right. Lundqvist said, Lundqvist picked Edmonton.
Right.
Don't know if he's rooting for him. But
and Anson Carter said he's rooting for Edmonton, but picked Florida.
Right.
I mean, holy blank.
Right. By the way, Rick Pitino was really good during the Yankees game last night. First off, I give Michael K credit. He said, well, you coach the Knicks. You live here. And he goes, no interest at all. Nope. Thanks. No interest. Okay. Then he asked him about coaching his son against his son, because his son's now on a Big East school, Xavier. And he says, I never spanked my kid as a child, but I'm going to spank him twice next year.
That's a great answer. That's a great answer.
God, I love Patino. And if he had never left Kentucky, oh my goodness.
Well, Lemmy's God, though, poop pooper. I guess if you want to go there, Lemmy is God.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. The bonus hour of Miller and Moulton in the 239 and the 904. We thank you for being with us on this first Thursday of the month. You know, the Belmont's this weekend. Now, of course, it's not at the Belmont. That's a whole other story. But they're going to race it. There's a chance to make some money. And we'll have our buddy, Kurt Becker, on tomorrow.
He's 2 for 2 this year in the previous 2 Triple Crown races. He had the Derby winner. He had the Preakness winner.
He also had the long shot in the money, not to win, but to finish second or third, and the long shot finished second in the Preakness. Yes, he has been really good with his picks so far in the Triple Crown Series. Kurt Becker, one of our favorites, tomorrow.
David, you are a grandfather.
I am.
I am not. You and I are of similar age. You're a couple years older than I am.
Mm-hmm.
But something happened to me yesterday that had not ever happened in the life of my 11-year-old daughter. It was her annual doctor's appointment. And it was during the day. And my wife likes to take her to those things and usually schedules them on one of her days off during the week. But that was unavoidable. So I had to take my daughter to the doctor yesterday for her annual physical.
Right.
And we get there, we check in, and obviously the first thing they do is have her hop on the scale. And a younger male nurse is walking her back. And he looked at me. Who do we have with us today? Grandpa? Dad?
Whoa!
And
Whoa!
he started with Grandpa. It's as close as I've come to challenging someone to a fight in over 20 years.
You don't have any gray hair. You look good. I mean, me, I'm almost all white, even though I'm only 3-4 years older than you, something like that. You could understand if I was walking your daughter back.
I eyeballed this guy for the rest of the day.
Oh my goodness.
I was so upset. It nearly ruined my trip to the cheesesteak place after. It didn't completely ruin it. The cheesesteak was amazing, by the way. But yeah, got called Grandpa yesterday with my daughter. My daughter thought it may have been the funniest thing that she has ever heard. And if it would have been in December when I was slugging around 30 extra pounds on me,
right,
I might have said, you know what, you got to get your fat butt into the gym. But since December, I've lost over 30 pounds. I've worked my tail off at getting into the best shape that I've been in a long, long time.
In a long time, probably 25 years.
Since you've known me, I believe.
Yes.
And I was called Grandpa yesterday by a male nurse at my daughter's doctor's office.
Now, I must admit, I became a grandpa, I think, at the age that you are now. So it's, but the thing is
possible. I mean, I have a son who just turned 26. It's obviously possible.
But you look good. I'd tell you if you look like blank.
Right.
You look good these days. Wow. Man, he's got to work on he deals with the public for a living. He's got to get a lot better I know it's not bedside manner, but whatever it is you call it, man, he's got to work on it. Plus, if you're going to make the mistake, you always go younger. You say to the woman, "Is this your mother?" "No, it's my grandma." "Really?"
Oh, you look great.
"Wow, you look
Absolutely.
great." Wow, I never would have imagined that. "Hi, Grandma."
I showed great restraint because when the doctor came in, and obviously, my wife, as I've said, is a veterinarian. This particular doctor took her animal before she had to put her dog down to my wife. So my wife's known this lady for a long time. There was never a choice of where we were going for the care of our daughter because they know one another. And I didn't say anything to the doctor. And I wanted to, because at the point it was said, I wanted him fired.
Did you actually spend 10 seconds thinking, do you think my wife and I have enough swag? Nah, we probably don't. But I don't know, maybe.
If the doctor would have asked me, how's everything going today, I would have answered with, great, until your nurse called me grandpa. But there was not the opening to do it, and I just decided to take the high road and not say anything. But I was bent, and my daughter looked at me and had that blank eating grin on her face because she knew the moment it was said how much it bothered me.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Wow. I'm bummed that the doc didn't ask you how things were going. Okay, because also what you needed to throw in, and you just said things are going great. This will be the last time we're here, but things are going fantastic. Okay. So make sure you say goodbye. Okay. I don't know if there's a lollipop involved or not, but you two do what you got to do. This is the last time we'll be here, by the way. Oh man, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm used to it. I look the part. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. That's tougher than getting the crematorium stuff in the mail. That's tougher than getting the, hey, if you come here, I give you a free steak dinner where you just sit through our presentation. Okay. That's tougher than the first time you get the AARP stuff in the mail, because that's just they know when your birthday is and they know you're eligible in an hour, so they're sending it to you.
Nope. In public, in front of the daughter. Who'd you bring with you today? Your grandpa? Your dad?
Oh, my goodness. You blankety.
You a-hole.
Yeah. Come on.
I know your name. I will never forget this.
Come on.
I can guarantee you I will be taking her back next year, and I will have a proper response.
Take you out back.
I came close when he said grandpa. I was going to say, what are you, the receptionist?
That's definitely. That's what
it was. Right. I bit my tongue because the daughter was there. It's her doctor's office.
Right.
I can't make a scene. It would get back to my wife. So, grandpa.
Yep. I mean, you could get. Yeah, you could go really, off color here. Right. Mm-hmm. Wow. I'm sorry. You didn't deserve that. Okay. There are things that you and I have deserved. In fact, we've deserved worse. You didn't deserve that. I'm sorry. Because you do. You look terrific. Golly, you're so right. That's the first thing I thought of. I go, oh my goodness, if he had said this around Thanksgiving, maybe.
And I'm one who's usually pretty quick with a verbal spat. In fact, I'm excellent at it. I always laugh. There's a couple of guys I play golf with, and they think that they're funny. And it's like, if you want to play the combat game with me for 4 hours, I'm going to win more than I'm going to lose. But that caught me so off guard that I had nothing. And when the daughter just looked at me and wanted to bust out laughing, I was helpless at that point.
Did she tell mom?
I don't think so. And I don't even think I did.
Wow.
Because we had just left mom's office. We brought her a cheesesteak and brought that for lunch and then went to our doctor's appointment.
All right. Do you think you would do this for me? okay, and then explain yourself out of trouble afterwards. The next time, can you and your wife go together? Okay. And as you're walking down the corridor, can you say to this guy, hey, I brought grandma? And then when she turns and looks at you and you go, long story. Okay. It'll be worth it. Just give it time. Let it breathe. No.
Miller and Moulton. Yes, I like it. A couple
Okay.
of poll questions to vote on today. When will you start watching the NBA Finals? Tonight, if it gets to 2-2, if it gets to Game 6, or I'm not watching any of it. That's what 46+% of you have said. And Texas Tech, did they get their money's worth by signing the NIL deal for $1 million to the pitcher? 77% say yes.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no.
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor. A neighborly company.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
I know this is going to surprise a lot of you in the YouTube chat room. And for those of you in Twitch to understand, we've got a religious kind of a freak coming in to tell us to love Jesus. And I'm messing with him because I find it fun. I used to do that on campus at Michigan State. I used to love when the religious nuts would come on and I'd argue with them about stuff. I always had a ball with that. Wow. I love the Super 70 sports polls. Today, why not? The Rose Bowl, Jerry Reed, chips and salsa, getting straight A's. I'm going chips and salsa. Yeah, the problem is that I have to go on Twitch in the morning for those in the YouTube room to put who our guests are. I do it a different way for YouTube, and I'm never on YouTube. So I have no idea how to block someone from YouTube. I don't have a clue. And I don't even have YouTube up. Well, hot. Anthony Hott. Good call. Why are you not going where you're supposed to? Once again, though, guys, I'm not on YouTube. I would have to go to YouTube and do all of that. It's just something during breaks. It's a little hard to do. And if this Jesus freak wants to do this every break, knock yourself out, dude. Go Christ.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes to the top of the hour, the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on this first Thursday in June. Thanks so much for being with us. If you missed David Bearman, Keith Smith, Dave Hyde, well, go to millerandmoulton.com and download what you missed. David, Keith, and Dave all joined us on the American Paint Supplies hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. Thanks to the good folks at American Paint Supply and also Floormeisters, as we're broadcasting live from the Floormeister studios. Floormeisters, strongly encouraging all of us, just keeping it real.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Today was the day when, brought to you by our good friends at Game Day Men's Health. Call today, 239-427-3441. That's 427-3441. Online, GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Mention Miller and Moulton for 10% off. We start today in 1851. Uncle Tom's Cabin was first published. 1884, General Sherman refuses the Republican presidential nomination, saying, "I will not accept if nominated, and I will not serve if elected." 1931, Tommy Armour wins his only British Open title, his third and final major.
General Eisenhower decides to proceed with D-Day after getting favorable weather reports. It was supposed to be today. It ended up obviously being tomorrow. Secretary of State George Marshall outlines the Marshall Plan to rebuild Western Europe today in 47. The first sporting event was televised nationally today in 1952. Jersey Joe Walcott beats Ezzard Charles in 15 rounds for the heavyweight title. The fight was at Municipal Stadium in Philadelphia. The Rolling Stones' first U.S. concert tour begins in San Bernardino, California today in 1964. Wooly Bully hit number 2 on the charts today in 65. Robert F. Kennedy was shot today at the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles. He would die the following day. That happened in 1968. Egyptian President Anwar Sadat reopened the Suez Canal today in 75. It had been closed since 67. You know, he kind of did a lot, and it didn't really pay off for him, David.
No, I'm with you.
1977, the Trailblazers beat the Sixers in 6 games for the NBA championship.
After losing the first 2 games of the series.
Today in 81, the AIDS epidemic officially begins when the Center for Disease Control reports on pneumonia affecting 5 homosexual men in Los Angeles. It was today in 83, David. I think you saw him on this same tour. But today was the day that a lot of us got our glimpse of U2, because it was the show at Red Rocks that would turn into the concert film called Under a Blood Red Sky. President Reagan died today in 2004. Rafi won his first French today in 05. The Guardian published the first article on NSA leaked documents by Edward Snowden today in 2013. And 3 years ago, Rafi won his 14th French Open singles title, his 22nd Grand Slam title.
So think about that. He won his first French in 05. He won his last French in 22.
John Maynard Keyes, big in economics. Art Donovan, big. Bob Probert and Breonna Taylor would have all celebrated birthdays today. Robert Kraft is 84. John Carlos, who won gold in Mexico City and did the salute, the black salute, the black power salute, he's 80 today. Kenny G, arguably the worst looking human being that's famous that I've ever seen in public, is 69 today. And Mark Wahlberg is 54. What did I miss, David?
Well, you left the violence to me today, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. I did.
You left that, yeah. The 6-day war between Israel and Egypt began today in 67. It was technically on this day, June 5th, because it was shortly after midnight that Robert Kennedy was shot. He did not die for over 24 hours.
No, I had that one.
Oh, you did?
I did,
Okay.
yes.
I'm sorry. I thought you left the violence to me. My bad.
Some of it.
J-Lo married Mark Anthony today in 04. That was her 3rd marriage. I think she's added 2 since. So, anyway, but they got married today in 04. That lasted a long time for J-Lo. That one lasted like 8 years.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What do you got, Mark?
That's my Devo wide receiver, by the way.
Yeah.
That's yeah. Obviously, she's difficult to deal with. I'd sign up for it. I would. Yep, bring it on. I know this is not going to end well. I get it. I'm here for it.
We go to Fort Myers Beach for the good, where a couple was out in their boat and their dog took off. They had just tied up their umbrella. The umbrella hit a gust of wind. It blew out, and the dog got spooked and ran. They couldn't find the dog. they thought they had lost the dog. But after 9 days and some help from social media, they got a call and were reunited with Mia, their dog. For the bad, boy, such a toss-up. All right, for the bad, we go to Vancouver, Washington, where in the morning, while having breakfast with his grandchildren, Anthony Villano heard a knock on his door. His daughter answered the door. Man said he needed some money for a tip from the grocery order he dropped off the night before. When he went to the door, he immediately smelled alcohol on the DoorDash driver who delivered groceries the night before, who was at the door demanding a tip. He told him, "You need to leave." A fight ensued. When he reached behind the DoorDash driver, he felt a gun. He was able to get the gun away from the DoorDash driver and call 911. Fortunately, no one was hurt, and the DoorDash driver was arrested. For the ugly, we go to Ocala, where an 81-year-old Ocala woman was arrested last week for pepper spraying her neighbors, including 2 young girls aged 3 and 6. You may wonder, what were the young girls doing to piss off the 81-year-old so much? You guessed it. They were playing with bubbles in their own front yard. She hurled some racial slurs at the children, hopped over the fence or climbed the small fence, and pepper sprayed everyone.
Wait a minute. Hold on. So they're playing in their front yard with bubbles?
And bubbles, and the crazy neighbor pepper sprayed them.
Stepped over the fence and pepper sprayed the kids who are playing on their own lawn?
With bubbles.
Man, I don't know what the maximum sentence is, but I'm all for it.
I am too. I don't care that she's 81. Throw the book at her. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly. On today, Thursday, June the 5th, here on Miller and Moulton.
I mean, adjust the medication at the very least. My goodness. Hey, there is some news out there. Rashad Bateman, Adam Schefter sent this out right as the segment was starting. Wide receiver with the Ravens. They just signed him to a 3-year, 36 and change contract extensions, and he gets 20 of it guaranteed. So I'm telling you, they got the best roster in the league. Ravens have absolutely no excuse. There's not a team I would take over the Ravens, roster-wise. In fact, I'll even go organization-wise. I'll go GM, coach, quarterback, roster. You combine it all together, I would not take anyone else's. Not saying that Lamar is the best quarterback, but not saying that John Harbaugh is the best coach. But if I have to, like you said about the Florida Panthers, you think from top to bottom, they're the best. Whether they win the cup or not, you would take their GM, their coach, their team, their goalie, and if you were running, I'll take it against everybody else. Connor and Leon may beat me, but you know what? Let me take this, and I'll go to war with this group for another couple years. That's how I feel about the Ravens. I'll take them. You can have the Eagles, you can have the Chiefs, you can have the Bills. I'm sorry. I'll take the Ravens. I think they have absolutely no excuse. I truly don't believe there's another team that has a better roster. I think it's all on them. No more excuses. Win these close playoff games.
By the way, the Bruins also making some news here in the last 5 or 10 minutes. They hired their head coach, Marco Sturm, who was the head coach for the Kings AHL affiliate, the Ontario Reign. Tim Cowlishaw reporting that it might save DeBoer's job. Apparently, this is someone Dallas had in mind, and now and that they thought maybe DeBoer, because he's going to get paid if he gets fired. So just pay attention to Dallas. They still have DeBoer as their head coach. The players aren't too happy about it. And he's going into the last year of his deal.
Yeah, that's not going to work. They're going to have to cut ties with him. I mean, listen, it's real simple. Are we going to give him a contract extension? If we're not, we might as well just, I know we got to pay him, but come on. Either we're extending him or we're not. Okay, you're going to lay the 9.5 tonight with Oklahoma City, 8:30 ABC?
Lay it. Lay it, lay it, lay it.
Meanwhile, 8 o'clock tonight, ESPN, Game 2, Texas Tech. Texas with a win wins the Natty. Texas
Tech will shut them out tonight.
Okay. All right. That means we'll get a Game 3 on Friday. Women's semis going on right now at Roland Garros. The top seed Sabalenka's up a break late in the first set on Swiatek. Coco Gauff in action immediately following. Baseball. Well, you know the deal. On Thursday, I mean, not everybody's playing. And we got afternoon games. Got a bunch of them, in fact. We got 8 afternoon games. But fortunately, the Marlins, after their butt whooping at home by the Rockies, they get the day off.
They need it.
Oh, and they need to go on a bender. That's
Talk
for
about
sure.
someone that needs a break. Send them a Snickers, for crying out loud. Rays and the Rangers, 7:30 tonight at Steinbrenner Field.
Yep. Arizona, Atlanta, MLB Network at noon. Looks like, and 7 o'clock tonight, MLB Network, Guardians, Yankees. Looks like the only two nationally televised. And actually, the Mets and Dodgers, MLB Network at 4. So all the talking head shows on MLB Network have the day off.
Royals and Cardinals double dip today, by the way.
Yes. Yes, because of the rain out. 1:45 and 7:45. So there is time to place your bet as to whether you're betting on the split or the sweep. So there
By the way, are you laying the points tonight, or are you taking the points with the Pacers?
I am taking the points in Game 1. I think this is where Rick Carlisle, I think, can have a big advantage. I think the longer the series goes, the team with more talent just separates themselves. But I think early in a series, I think a coach can steal a game. This, to me, is the Rick Carlisle game for Indiana.
Well, do something defensively that we've not seen, because I don't think Brunson got his every game. So, the Pacers didn't really do anything to stop the best player from scoring. They've got to do something to slow SGA down.
Agreed. There's no doubt. I'm not saying it's a great matchup for Indiana, but I like their coach. They've got an all-NBA player. The way Siakam played against the Knicks, they had 2. And they play differently than everybody else. And I think it'll take Oklahoma City a game to adjust to Indiana's pace. I don't think you are ready for it until you play against it once.
And it will be a great scene in Oklahoma City. It'll be, of the 4 teams left, we have 3 cities that are going to go bat blank crazy, and the Panthers have all bought in to them. So great 4 towns, if you will, for the finals in the NBA and the NHL. We'll do it all again tomorrow, 6 a.m. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower's so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from that fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. I've been a customer for over a year and cannot say enough good things about their service and communication. If you're a business owner, you can trust Molly Maid to do an exceptional job. Their expert team delivers tailored cleaning for whatever your needs, ensuring a pristine environment for clients and staff. Visit mollymaid.com/FT-Myers or call 239-418-0052. Molly Maid makes my home shine, and it will make your home or business shine too.
Miller and Moulton would like to thank the sponsors that quite frankly saved the show in 2024. Whether it was Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Molly Maid, Cigar Bar, Sleep Treatment Direct, the Diamond District, and even the Cape Coral Police Department, thank you. We're hopeful of a great 2025, still needing sponsors, so reach out to Miller and Moulton via X at that Mark Miller or the David Moulton, or text us at 21,000. But Miller and Moulton says thank you to our sponsors and to you, our loyal listeners.
This is Miller and Moulton